Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4playernetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. Hey everyone, welcome to 4Player Podcast, episode 674. It's March 25th, 2021. My name is Nick Henderson. Joining me tonight is Brad Simons.
I feel like it's a little awkward when you do like the cold open when sometimes we have the casual conversation and you like, all right, let's get started. Welcome guys, but then when we're all quiet like that and you just have to start cold,
It sucks.
That doesn't sound good. I'm sorry,
Thank
Nick.
you.
We should have been having casual conversation.
I'm
If you
gonna be
started
honest.
now, if you just said, hey guys, welcome to the podcast, it would be great.
I feel like it's been a long time since I've introduced you, Brad, and then instead of saying hello, you've just gone into like a rant or whatever you want to call with that little
ranter
spiel, yeah. But yeah, sorry. Anyways, Brad's here. Nolan Hedstrom's joining us.
I thought you did a great intro, Nick.
Thank you. Chris Davis, what did you think of my intro?
It was all right.
And I'm almost scared to ask, David Lau, what did you think of my intro?
To be honest, I wasn't listening. I was trying to fill out this form right here.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
But yeah, so the show started. I think we're good. I think it was fine, probably.
Thank you. I appreciate the vote of confidence. Anyways, welcome back to the show, everybody. We have a lot to talk about tonight. Before we get into impressions and stuff, I want to remind everybody of a couple things. One, the Revival Club right now is playing Final Fantasy XII, which is going swell. That game is pretty dope, especially if you're into the idea of playing like an MMO, but without.
When do you have to be finished playing by?
I say I'm trying not to put too many like hard deadlines on it anymore because here's the thing: it's one of those things where it's like every game length is different, and instead of trying to guess like, oh, it's going to take me a month or 2 months, it's especially while people are trying to play other things.
I think it's on sale right now
too.
On the Switch.
Well, the funny thing is
for like another day.
The funny thing is when we started doing the Revival Club for Final Fantasy XII, it literally went on Game Pass like the next day. I don't know if it's still on Game Pass, but that was definitely a great way to get your hands on it. But I'm playing on Switch, and it's fantastic.
What?
And it's also, dude, it's great.
Switch?
It runs great on Switch, and I
I'm
can play it on the
surprised
go.
The stuff that runs, does it run well on Switch? Is it good?
I mean, I think it runs.
JJ
great
Macfield. Have you ever played JJ Macfield on Switch? I wonder how that runs.
I have
Maybe
not.
you should check it out. It's on sale for $10 right now.
You were so
This is the
determined to make
sweary
me play
game.
the fucking game.
It's
Well, I'm
not
just
on
curious.
sale anymore, by the
Huh?
way.
It's not.
It's not on sale. No. Final Fantasy isn't.
How much does Final Fantasy XII go for at full price?
50.
Still 50? Damn. Yeah.
$50 for that shit?
What?
It is the Zodiac Age. Not that like
That's no
suddenly
excuse.
I mean, $50 is a bit steep, right? I'm sure there are easier ways to get your hands on Zodiac Age at this point. It's on so many different platforms. But come on, guys, the game is great, and we're getting ready for Final Fantasy 16.
Was it? I've never beaten that game.
It's pretty.
Yes,
really,
it's a good
It's
game.
great.
it's a damn.
I
It's a
watched
pretty
Nick
damn
play
good
it
video
for
game.
10 minutes the other day, and the entire time he was freaking out about this slime ambush. He was getting his ass kicked, and I was like, oh no, is Nick going to quit Final Fantasy 12?
No, that was
Nick,
literally
don't-
that was. The funny thing is, like, you came into my stream literally at the first. That is like literally the first spike in difficulty I had. That because the first 20 to 30 hours of the game actually is kind of breezy in terms of like difficulty, and then I walk into a room and I'm getting ambushed by 20 of these stupid slimes, and it was a bit rough, especially if you're just not ready for it. But anyways, the point is, we're playing that game for the Revival Club. If you're interested in playing along, talking about it in Discord, you can support us on Patreon at the $3 tier or higher, or you can subscribe to us on Twitch. Either way, you'll have access to the channels in Discord. What's up?
Are the slimes weak to electricity or fire?
These were weak to fire. And I know this because I eventually summoned
You guys are playing it
Elias.
on wait mode, right?
wait mode.
Oh no, not this
No.
conversation. I remember having this
Yeah.
conversation when this game first came out.
So you know every time you like go into the menu, it goes and everything stops, and then you're like, oh, I could take my time. Should I attack him, or should I use my magic, or should I use
gotcha.
my item? and you have time to sit there and think about it, turn that off, man.
Dude,
If you
I
really
just
wanna
set up
play-
gambits and let the game
Dude,
play
Gambit.
itself.
Yeah, 110% gambits all the way. It's all about smart use of gambits, man. But hey,
It's
we're
funny
gonna
that Brad's playing Final Fantasy 14 though, because he should have played Final Fantasy 11.
or 12, you bitch.
I've always
Anyways.
wanted to play 11.
Is it still playable?
I would assume in
yeah,
some capacity. Yeah.
Let's play, dude. I'll jump in.
No. Don't get him
Speaking of
sucked into.
Speaking of Final Fantasy games, can I transition, Nick?
That was
Sure,
a
go
horrible
ahead.
transition, Brad.
I
You should've
needed
done
like a
that.
head nod. I needed a head nod from our host.
Yes,
What are you
my head is nodding.
transitioning
Speaking
to?
of Final Fantasy, I've been playing Bravely Default 2,
Oh my
which is
God.
a series
that is not a transition.
Well, no, I mean Bravely Default was a spiritual successor to the Four Heroes of Light.
If you would have
Yeah.
said that, then yes. Like speaking of
Well,
Final
yeah.
Fantasy, did you know Bravely Default was a spiritual successor to the original Final Fantasy Heroes of Light series?
It's very, very Final Fantasy.
Did you know Bravely Default 2 is the third game in the series?
Yeah, yeah.
Wait,
which
is that true?
strange? Yes,
Yes.
it's the third. There's
No.
Bravely Default second, and then there's Bravely Default 2.
right.
Yeah.
I remember
So
that
fucking
now.
stupid.
I own all of them, and I still like.
Yeah.
How much does a sealed copy of one of those go for? Because I know the first
don't
two
know.
Bravely Defaults
That-
are kind of expensive. Do you know?
I-
There's a game I'm going to be talking about later. It's the first game in the series is going for like $70-$80 on eBay.
It happens. It happens. But hey, we're here to talk about Bravely Default 2, and let me tell you, have you ever
We're
played?
talking about my game too.
Yeah,
It's a
I know.
two-
but
Eventually.
two also.
You know what?
we're
Fuck you both.
showing
We're talking
footage
about
for
my game
Bravely
too.
Default.
Do you like how this
Brad-
game looks, Brad? I'm just out
Brad,
of curiosity.
I have a yes or no question for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Having it before you start getting into the depths of Bravely Default 2, because I don't know too much about it. I never played Bravely Default second. I only played the first one.
Wasn't it called Bravely
Default.
Second?
Bravely
Yeah,
second.
Maybe.
Sorry.
Yeah, Bravely second.
That's so dumb.
So I never played it because I just could not get into the first one. Do you think this game alleviates those problems and is worth it for someone
Well,
who
you know,
didn't
as-
like the first game?
So here's the thing. I also think I didn't like the first game. I don't actually remember not liking it, but I remember deciding to put it down. But I think I remember
you
originally
didn't
thinking that
actively
the
dislike it.
combat.
You
I
didn't
remember
actively dislike
thinking
it
that the
like,
combat system in the original was somewhat overrated. People like really. I mean, the name of the series is basically about the core,
Yeah.
combat system mechanic,
Default.
right? Brave.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Brave,
that's
yeah.
all still very similar here, but it's not bothering me as much. And I'm wondering if it has to do with the fact that, man, look, dude, I don't know what to tell you.
say it.
You like how
I'm-
these
I'm having-
characters look?
No, I don't. But we're not talking about the look
They
yet.
look not
Uh,
good to me.
Well, because they got big heads, and I don't like that.
Not a
They're
big
chibi.
head.
Hey,
Just
hey! I
don't
feel like that
look
was
very-
a personal attack. That was a swipe at
Why?
Final Fantasy 9.
Somebody. Oh, I thought. Oh.
Okay.
I thought he was
I
being
thought
that-
you took that personally, Nick. Because remember when we started the show, Chris Davis was like, "Nick, you have a really big head." I thought that's where you.
I said your head is really
No.
big in the frame.
Sorry, no, not talking about my
break
actual
it.
head.
Let me break it down for you guys. Damn it. Okay, so this combat system is, from what I recall, is still largely intact. Like it's that Brave and Default system where you can kind of, take like multiple turns in a row, but then go into like a deficit where you're at negative turns, and then the enemy can go a bunch. So it's all about
Yeah.
doing smart like burst damage, hoping you kill, like whittle down some of the the side enemies or whatever, so maybe the battle won't be as hard, or maybe you could just clear out the whole battle by braving everybody 4 times and then having everybody go right. I think the difference with this one is that you and the enemy take turns, while I think the first 2 Bravely Default games, everybody on your team took a turn at the same time. Maybe, I'm not sure, but I mean, here's the reality.
Wait,
I
this
think-
is confusing. How? What do you mean you can take your turn, go negative?
So you have these things called like brave points, right? When it's your turn, it says, all right, you can take an action, right?
Uh-huh.
It pauses. It's a turn-based JRPG, right?
Yep.
You can hit the right trigger or whatever,
Mhm.
like 4 times and actually take 4 turns in a row. So you can attack, you
Up
can
to
use
4.
a potion, you can bring a dude back to life and use another potion on him, right?
Right.
So you could take 4 turns in a row, but the enemy
Then we'll
can
get 4
then
turns.
could then get not just get 4 turns or not just take a bunch of turns while you're in
Oh,
this deficit. They could actually also brave in default. So
okay.
so
you
if you're like
essentially
fighting
get
a
like 8
boss,
turns.
yeah. So if you're fighting a boss, you might go, like your party might be kind of wiped out, or you might want to do a bunch of burst damage. So you've done a lot of like turns in a row, and you might get back up to full health, right? Because you used all your turns, but now the boss can brave a whole bunch and just destroy everybody in one turn, and that's kind of what I'm liking about this game. It feels more challenging than the original game. I feel like in general there's a lot more. They just When you start the game, it just sort of goes, right. There's not a long fucking intro. There's not a lot of like bullshit and tutorials. You're exploring a world map. You're unlocking job classes like really quickly, and as soon as you start unlocking and you have all of your party members in like the first half hour of the game.
Damn.
You know what I mean? It just
definitely not
moves.
common.
There's only 4 or what?
There's only 4, yeah.
So you don't get any other characters in the entire game.
I mean, as far as I'm aware, but I'm pretty sure that it's like that in the other ones as well. But because it has a deep job class system, like Final Fantasy 5 or 3, you don't really need a bunch of different characters because it's all about customizing your loadouts with the job class system, with the sub job class system, which is the reason I picked this up, because I really just wanted to play a classic JRPG with a really good job class system I can sink my teeth into, right? And it has, just like Final Fantasy 5 and tactics and stuff, you have a main class and you're leveling it up and you're getting skills, and you have a subclass, mixing and matching those. You can also equip like up to 8 different passives, so you can like learn passives from different job classes, and having like mixing and matching those kind of leads you to having cool like freedom to customize the loadout to really do a lot of make the characters you really want to make. And because you have this brave system, right, you have a lot of, because you're mixing and matching all these jobs between 4 different characters, and you have all these passives and stuff, because you can do like up to 4 things on any given turn. I feel like you have a lot of freedom. You have a lot of options to kind of do a lot of different things to really change the flow of battle. Does that make sense?
So
You just have access to so many things at so many times at a single time if you want.
But so my question is, how often do you just do one thing, or how often do you like ramp it up? Is it always like 1 or 4, or do you actually like, oh, I'll just take 2 turns?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sometimes I just take 2 turns. Sometimes it's too dangerous to take multiple turns. Sometimes, you're like, I got my white mage, right? Like, she needs to save the fucking day. She needs to take all of her turns now, right? Or I have a monk class who has a lot of powerful abilities, right? But she uses her health to do damage, right? To do these abilities, kind of like a Dark Knight or whatever, right?
Huh.
So like it's really dangerous I use all of her turns, but then she has like no health left, and I got to make sure that my healer has enough turns to like heal her back up, but she can do a lot of damage. Like, again, it's that customization, it's the freedom, it's the having a lot of options. That stuff's really good.
That's pretty cool.
And I don't know. So like the story, pretty simple and pretty straightforward. It's completely voice acted though, and it's surprisingly decent. Actually, I kind of like the voice acting.
I've had this since day 1. I still have not popped it in.
I mean, the
David,
characters and the
did you play the
characterizations
first one?
themselves
No.
aren't like.
I bought it probably day 1 too. I own all of them.
I would say the characters themselves aren't like anything like super special or anything. I mean, one dude like looks kind of, he has like a
That's the
chin strap
bummer.
beard and wears a fedora. He's kind of like lame. But the thing is, they took from the Tales of series, there's skits, right? So like
they're, like,
after an
talking
event,
while
after
they're-
a side quest, it'll pop up and say like party chat, and then just like a Tales of game, like your party will just start talking to each other and having these little conversations. The shit that I wanted so badly in Octopath Traveler that actually happens so rarely happens all the time in this game. So even though the character archetypes aren't super like nuanced or anything, like I feel like I'm kind of getting to know them, and because there's no voice acting for the skits, that's the one thing. It's like an older Tales game, but everything else is voice acted, and it's just 2 things. One, if I have one negative about this game, I think everything feels a little sluggish. You know, like it takes a second or two to pull up the menu. The load times aren't great. You know, and especially in a game where you're customizing job classes, you don't want the menus to feel kind of sluggish. You want them to feel snappy. You want to feel them responsive. You want to get in and out of like battles really quick. And it's not terrible, but you know, a Switch game, a JRPG, you want it to fucking move, right? Especially because it's not like this game is like groundbreaking visually. I wish it didn't. I wish it wasn't this sluggish because I feel like it's holding it back a little. The other thing is, Monster Hunter comes out tonight, and
actually came out yesterday.
I'm never touching this again.
Goodbye.
I rented this game like originally from GameFly, but they fucked up. It got lost in the mail, and they had to send another copy, and both copies arrived at the same time. And what happened is I ended up starting this game. Yeah, for Bravely.
Oh.
What happened is I ended up starting this game 2 weeks later than I was anticipating, and now I'm not going to keep playing this, not right now, because I have Monster Hunter, right? So I feel bad because I am enjoying this game.
Monster Hunter.
I did. Of course I bought Monster Hunter.
I thought you were gonna rent Monster Hunter. I was like,
no. I got this preloaded.
No.
This dude sunk like 30 hours into the demo.
Yeah, it's Monster Hunter. Come on.
You want to play Monster Hunter, Brad, together?
Hold on. We'll talk about Monster Hunter later. Hang on. So yeah, I was wrapping up. I mean, really. I like it. I do like it.
I'm interested. I'm going to play.
Sluggish. I if it were any other time, I would totally keep playing this because it's comfort food. I love a good job class system. I love the customization. I like voice acting. It's got way more voice acting than a Realm Reborn. So
can I point out
just a bummer.
Well, and maybe this is just me misremembering my experience with Bravely Default 1, which, even though I literally played that first game for like 20 hours, but I feel like something has been lost maybe visually between these two games, because I feel like this game looks very generic, and I feel like one of the strongest points of that first game was maybe the way it looked.
Really?
The first game also had these chibi characters.
They were of the similar style, and they definitely were a little bland, in my opinion.
But also, wasn't the original game on the 3DS?
Yes,
it looked really good for a 3DS game. This does not look good.
Maybe
for
that's
a Switch game.
Maybe that's the disparity here. Is the style looks really good on a 3DS, but maybe doesn't translate as well to the. It's weird because it has this kind of like, it looks like it's going for that same kind of visual style, but it also incorporates this like blur effect that has become so commonly used with like voxel based or like really stylized visual styles, and I don't think it works as well here.
Are you referring?
I like how it looks like when you're walking around the world map. Actually, I think it looks fine. It's just up close. These character models, I don't think they look that cool. Like, look at the douche in the back. The only one I like is the princess, who's my white mage, and I like how she has that poofy hat.
It's like the Snow White, the Snow Queen.
Well, that's what the white mage looks like. But the thing is, even when I put like the dudes in the white mage outfits, they have like the floofy hat and stuff. You know, everyone's got their own kind of look, but I thought just the princess is a white mage. She looks that way, but I turned the douchey guy into a white mage, and he looked ridiculous. But you know, that's the kind of that's the kind of fun thing in a job class system game, right? Having
but they don't look unique when you change them.
No, they do. They have their own takes on
kind of a la like Final Fantasy X-2.
Yeah. So like I just unlocked Bard, and the douchey guy looks terrible as a Bard, but that monk lady, who I don't want to make a Bard right now, looks fucking great as a Bard. So I guess I might.
You remember, Nick?
But it doesn't matter because I'm not going to play this game because Monster Hunter's coming out. We should move on.
All the little dress.
Dude, the dress sphere system is in 10-2 is fantastic.
Oh yeah,
I've never played that game. I just looked at the outfits. Because you know how everybody like Riku's was a little bit more. Riku's was a little bit more sluttier than Yuna, and Payne's was more like SM than because of their personalities. Oh, SNM,
yeah. Oh God, you made me lose my thought.
What?
No.
Speaking of games with interesting art styles, Nick.
Wait, is that your transition? Fuck it, whatever. You're not going to play more Bravely Default 2. I guess there's no point in talking about it more.
I'll play it. I'll play it.
I already stopped this combo.
Fantastic. You know, okay, so You want to talk about games with really interesting visual styles? Boy, do I have a game for you. I started playing Mundaun. Moon. I don't know how to pronounce this game exactly.
Mundaun.
I mean
Mundane.
it's Swedish. No, it's it's Swedish. I'm not very good at pronouncing.
Swedish.
Swedish.
Swedish. It's called Mundaun. Mundaun.
Literally
can't say it
Every
right.
time Nick says the name.
I don't think
Wait,
this
what?
game is Swedish.
What's the name again, Nick?
Well, it
Say
takes place in the Swiss Alps.
Yeah, but that's
That's the main character's name.
What? No.
What is the title of the game?
Mundaun is the name of the place that the game takes place in. It's this
you
village
remember your
in the
bully
mountains.
geography classes?
Yes, Sweden
Yes.
and Switzerland are two different countries.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Oh,
This is a Swiss game.
Y'all are
is it
fucking
an
killing me.
actual real place?
Is it Swiss? Is it Swiss? Okay. Y'all are
All right,
fucking
go ahead,
killing
Nick,
me.
Go ahead. I just wanted to get it right. That's all.
You're right. You definitely want to get it right. So you still killed my fucking vibe, though.
Were you just smoking a pipe, Nick?
Yes, you are smoking a pipe. This is actually your grandfather's pipe in this game. So this is a folk horror. It's an indie folk horror game. It's built. The concept is that you return to the village where you grew up because you find out that your grandfather died in a fire, and so, you were notified of his death, and he felt something was off about it, and they told you not to come because he was already been buried and everything. There's no point. So he's like, well, that's weird. So he makes the trip to this village, which is way up in the mountains. In fact, the opening
It's really in
opening
the
scene-
mountains.
Wait, what?
You keep this mountain you're driving up doesn't
Yeah, I
look
know.
drivable.
So I
Driving?
didn't. Yeah, I'm in the footage here. I'm driving this like little.
What?
Hey, what? Are you watching?
You're
the footage?
driving?
Yes. Are you
You're
watching?
driving
the
a
footage?
car? Maybe I'm behind or something because I just see you walking
Okay, the footage
with
is probably
like a
slow
bow
for
and
you.
arrow or something.
What?
What?
Do you have the right footage?
Keep going,
playing?
Nick.
It's a black
Oh
and
my
white
God,
game.
You guys are fucking derailing this conversation. I was so excited to talk about this, and now I'm just losing.
I'm
it.
excited to hear you talk about it, Nick.
Oh
I've heard good things.
my god.
Nick, just mute everybody and talk about the game for a little bit.
I'm trying so hard. Oh my god. Maybe we should talk about something else. I've lost it. I fucking lost it.
I don't think you did, Nick.
No.
So are you in a cave right now? You're like spelunking?
Yeah. Okay. So when you make it to this village, you're trying to figure out what happened to your. I can't remember if it was your father or your grandfather. The point is, you show up, and everything is kind of weird. It's the village is abandoned. You find the barn where the fire happened, and you actually find the corpse of your father still in the burnt building, just burnt to a crisp. Yeah, and you're like, well, this is clearly fucked up. So you're trying to investigate the village, and you come across this weird man who's like, he has this like top hat and a cane, and he's really creepy looking. His face is all twitchy. And I think the implication is I have not finished the game. I'm like halfway through it at this point, but I believe the implication is that this man that you keep seeing throughout the village is supposed to be the devil. And something is going on in the village. There was some kind of deal struck with the devil, and you're trying to kind of figure out what's going on. But what I didn't know about this game going into it, right, go ahead, Brad.
I did see some goats when you were streaming it.
Yes.
And it gave me witch vibes.
Yes, this game, as far as like tone, like atmosphere and tone goes, is giving me flashbacks to The Witch or to more recently Midsummer. Because a lot of it takes place kind of out in the open and this big, in the sunshine and everything, and it has this like cultish horror vibe going to it. But what I didn't really know going into this game was that it's kind of semi-open world. Actually, maybe not even semi. It's straight up open world. You are just kind of let loose in this village to explore and find clues. It's linear in terms of like you have to accomplish certain objectives before it lets you move on to the next area. But all of these areas are interconnected for the most part, without any loading screens. And you're kind of free to go wherever you want. You can go find houses. You can explore those houses. You're finding keys. You're finding all kinds of just weird artifacts and objects that you can use. As you can see, I'm driving this like hay truck around, which I probably shouldn't have driven up this very tight cliff.
So do you
but
kind of need a vehicle to get around because it's large, this space?
I don't think it's so large that it would be inconvenient to wander around on foot. It certainly
Because that
helps.
sounds like immediately appealing to me. Like, you know, I've been kind of down on like indie horror games lately, right? Where you're just kind of walking around and stuff. But like a larger, more open space that I can explore at my own pace with a vehicle. Vehicle is like a magic word for me.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's like more than one vehicle in this game. I kind of feel like this is probably it.
Well, sure, you're not going to get an airship or anything,
Yeah.
but that's still cool. I mean,
I'm not going to be flying around with a wingsuit or anything at any point. But you know, it is a nice way of getting you around the world, and the world is big enough that it's certainly helpful. But at its core, it is still kind of maybe that this is definitely an entry in that genre of horror that, Brad, you may not be the biggest fan of. I mean, it does seem very Amnesia-esque in terms of like it's very puzzle based, but like the puzzles are kind of obtuse. You're just trying to find key objects and figuring out how to use those objects to trigger things.
We talked a little bit about this, and maybe this is a time where I can interject here, but I've sort of just come into the realization that the reason I don't like indie horror games so much is not that I want like combat in my horror games, which sort of came up, right? It's that the core loop of most indie horror games that don't have combat in them is that they're like basically like point and click adventure games, right? They're having an inventory of items, figuring out where they go, maybe how they interact with each other. And I can't stand point and click adventure games. And it's that horror games, most indie horror games are very story driven as well. And I'm definitely like a gameplay first kind of guy, you know, and I got to like that gameplay. And I don't like, there's well written, well acted, like amazingly funny point and click adventure games through the years, and I've tried so many of them. I tried so hard to get into them, and I just can't stand the way those games play. And I'm sort of realizing that that's probably why I don't want to play the new Amnesia game and all that stuff. And a lot of these that people say are really scary, you should try this because I know you like scary things. It's like, but I'm also get bored, and I don't want to do that. So that's just a personal thing.
That, I mean, that is fair. That has definitely become a subgenre of horror, and it's more of just like the way in which they want to evoke fear is very different than, say, something like Fatal Frame, where a lot of that fear comes from the tension of being able to like defend yourself, I guess.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's necessarily the case here. I do know you there's like several stats, like character stats that if you explore the world well enough, you find these objects that boost your stats, like that'll boost your overall health. It'll boost your resistance to fear, because if you see enemies, which are so far in this experience have been pretty rare, but when you see the enemies, you start to become overwhelmed with fear, and you start to like kind of hallucinate, and it becomes harder to kind of move around and whatnot.
Like Eternal Darkness.
Kind of like Eternal Darkness
or
Amnesia.
Also, yeah.
But you find things in the world that kind of you can find like coffee in the world, and if you go back, there's like several like safe houses in the world, and you go back and you can make coffee, and when you drink the coffee, it makes, or maybe it's the coffee or something else, but one of the things makes it so that you're more resistant to fear, so you can maybe brave enemy encounters more openly without fear of becoming fearful, I guess. But and also there's a stat for like your rifle handling. I don't have a rifle yet, but it seems to imply there is a rifle. I certainly didn't expect there to be a vehicle in this game. So this game certainly has some surprises. But one thing I haven't mentioned yet, and I think this is obviously the first thing most people are going to notice about playing this, is the way it looks is kind of incredible. This whole thing is hand drawn, like pencil hand drawn. And
Really?
if you've never seen a screenshot, or if you've only seen a still shot, I think it doesn't quite do it justice, because seeing it in motion is pretty incredible. It has this really great look.
It makes me think of Return of the Obra Dinn.
Yeah, it does look a little bit, maybe a little less, because some of the line work in that was really intense.
This is also, I'll say this. Like, if you're looking at this, if you're watching the stream on a phone, or if you're watching like I am in a corner of one of my monitors, like this is a game that when you blow it up, like if you really get up close, especially if you're probably playing the game, you notice that effect way more. Like far away, it kind of just looks like a black and white game, but up close, this thing looks pretty remarkable. I remember when they first announced this thing years ago, and I was like, man, all the textures really are hand drawn. That's crazy.
Yeah, it looks very like sketchy, like someone was just drawing with a pencil inside like a notebook or something. It's really cool, and that effect is like throughout. And I'm having a really good time with it so far. It's definitely it's one of the most unique experiences I've had just horror wise in quite a while. And I realized this earlier today. This is kind of unrelated. I don't know what it is about 2021. I've played like 5 games so far. They've all been indie horror games except for Mario.
So
I've played
this
4
is definitely
indie horror
your
games.
Fucking genre.
I've played 4 indie horror games and Bowser's Fury. like that's what's up here.
These are very
that
common,
game was
man.
pretty spooky,
Ever since,
Nick.
the thing is, when PewDiePie was blowing up, everyone started making indie horror games because they thought they were going to be millionaires. And the ones who got their games out quick, man, they made big bucks. And now everyone's just finally putting out their indie horror games, and PewDiePie doesn't care anymore. He just talks to people. So,
but I care. I'm no PewDiePie, but
okay.
I care. But yeah, it's really really cool. It's all it's not dubbed, so it's just subtitles. But and I honestly I don't know. It has voice acting, but it's in a different language, so I'm not entirely sure how what the quality of that voice acting is necessarily in terms of like the acting. But because I'm kind of blissfully ignorant to that, the presentation has been pretty great. And I will tell you this, Brad, since I know you're not a fan of reading long notes, which is a very common thing in horror games, every note that I've found in this game has been like 1 or 2 sentences tops. So
like
you're not
that.
spending a shit ton of time.
I won't even read a text box if it's more than 3 lines. That's sort of my rule for Final Fantasy 14, because they have these text boxes where the text just pops up all at once. If it's 4 lines or more, I'm out. I'm skipping it.
Oh, real quick, in the footage. So I was walking up and I see this house, and in the second floor of the house, I could see this creature walking around. And the enemies that you encounter early on in this game are like hay people, like they're like wicker people. So they're
it is like Midsummer.
Yeah, it is very Midsummer-esque. So like I was like, I don't want to go in this house knowing this dude's walking around in there. So I pulled out a match and I lit this trail of hay on fire that kind of like propagated into the house and then burned and then caught him and then burnt him down. And I just waited for the fire to go out before I went inside. And that I'm not sure if that's what I was necessarily expected to do or supposed to do. The game didn't prompt me to do that. I just kind of was like, well, I'm definitely not going in there, because they do give you like a what do you call it? I don't want to call it a trident because thank you. It's a pitchfork.
I was give you a trident, a mighty trident.
They give you a pitchfork, and I was like, I don't necessarily feel comfortable going mano a mano with this hey dude with a pitchfork, but I will certainly light this bitch on fire. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, this game is pretty cool. I highly recommend it if you're into this.
It's getting to the point though, Nick, and I hate to be real with you. You like indie horror games too much that I feel like I need another person to come in and say, yeah, he's right, this one's pretty cool. And that's nothing personal.
Ed's gonna play this.
Okay.
Ed was the one who reminded me this game was coming out.
If Ed gives us the thumbs up, it's not like you're bad. You're just like you need a Roper to your Ebert. You know what I mean?
You mean it's like we can never really know for sure if the newest Godzilla movie is great just because Chris Davis says it's great. We have to have
good fucking example. Good fucking example. Yeah.
It's like I can't be trusted to tell you. I don't know. Make something up. I'm sure there's. I'm too biased on plenty of things.
Bite my lip.
The new season of Dexter. If you say the new season of Dexter is good,
oh yeah,
that's not useful information to fucking anyone.
That's gonna be an amazing season of television. I don't give a fuck who you are.
But Brad, I thought your go-to person previously was Carlos for all your indie horror jank.
No, it depends. It's the same. Well, yeah, he'd probably love this shit. So yeah. he loves indie horror games even more than Nick. Ugh.
Yep, that's very true. Okay. All right, let's shift gears a bit. I'm gonna be honest. I know nothing about this next game we're gonna talk about. I found out it existed today, but apparently it's on Switch. So, David, what is this Mary Skelter 2?
Yeah, but it says Mark Skelter on the. I
What?
just noticed that it says Mark Skelter on the.
Oh God, I was in such a rush. I was so late making the overlays today.
I don't know about the overlay, but on the title of the podcast.
Honestly, Mark Skelter sounds better.
That's
tell us about
Davis's
Mark
fault.
Skelter.
That is totally Chris Davis's fault.
Anyways.
Well, the T and the Y are right next to one another, so
yeah, the game's weird, man. It's like a. So I always knew it was a dungeon crawler. When I heard dungeon crawler, I thought it was like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon crawler. But I don't know if you guys remember, but remember I played this game called Zonky Zero a while back?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's very like walk forward and move around and pull switches. It's like one of those games. I don't know so the original game's on the Vita, and I don't know if that one plays like that. I own a copy. I haven't opened it. It's kind of rare now, so I'm kind of not wanting to open it. But yeah. So I started playing this one. So something interesting is this game came out on Switch and PS4 in Japan, but it only is on Switch here in America. It's not on PS4 at all. Like even digital. Like I'm playing the physical copy because I rented it from GameFly, because limited run games created digital copies out there, physical copies out there. So you can get it digitally on the Switch, or there's physical copies floating around that are like expensive, but it's not on PS4. You can't play it on PS4, and that probably has to do a lot with how like PS4, Sony's been like cracking down on all these like Japanese anime games because they're worried about the maturity and stuff like that.
Have they?
Yeah, you didn't know? They've cracked down like a lot of stuff. They've been censoring everything out, and who would have thought like Switch would be the bastion for uncensored Japanese games?
I see some stuff sometimes when I'm browsing the store going, this is on a Nintendo. This doesn't seem right.
Exactly.
Does Nintendo know this is on here?
This is pretty. I know, but like even the Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball series, like they got censored a bunch off of the PS4 ones. So like everybody says the Switch ones are the ones to get. Zonky Zero, the game I was talking about earlier, they got censored up a bunch on the last one.
Zonky Zero is the one from a few weeks ago that you were on, where you talked about where it's like the island, right? Where everyone's okay.
So this game, it's funny because this game plays exactly like that, where you're just like walking forward and turning and I don't know, it's weird, man. So you start off the game, you're a girl, and you're a party, and there's a girl in there, and then there's another girl. They just refer to her as Little Mermaid, or it's Princess Mermaid in Japanese. That's what they say, but in English it says Little Mermaid. So there's a bunch of like
Princess Mermaid's a better name.
There's a bunch of blood maidens apparently, and I don't know, man. This game, the story is all over the place so far. Well, you start off in a dungeon and you're walking around and you're trying to get out, and you run across. It gives off very pretty like Disgaea vibes in the beginning, because you're like in like this hell dungeon, and it's like, oh, we're gonna torture these people and gouge their eyes out, and everyone's like laughing about it, and then like there's like this kooky music playing in the background, like don't, and you're like, what the hell is going on? But we're wandering around there through this dungeon, and we run into some
What the hell are we watching here? This is like
that's the opening anime opening.
Okay.
So sorry.
Yeah, I like the art style, I guess.
It's much better than Bravely Default.
Can you skip ahead a little, Chris Davis?
Yeah. I want to see some gameplay.
We're at the push any button to start.
Yeah, and then I probably go through some menus and stuff like that. I go to options. Watch. I'll go to options and then change it to Japanese or something.
He gave me an hour of footage. Oh my god.
Yeah, well, that's just me recording it, dude. Sorry. I thought.
Oh my god, he wasn't lying. He does record everything.
In Chris Davis's defense, he usually skims through it and like cuts it down a little bit. Today would have.
I don't trim it. No, not normally.
Yeah, well, it's because I uploaded it late.
Here we go.
That's true.
Today would have been the day for me to splice in some idle content somewhere randomly in here.
Yeah.
Maybe it's in there. Maybe it's not. You don't know because I gave it to you too late.
Not for an hour.
Anyway, so I'm like walking around, and so the really weird thing about this game is it's a turn-based. So you'll hit a battle, and then you're like each of your characters can attack or do some sort of skill or use some sort of item or some defend or run away, And the weird thing is that there's this kind of, so it's, I don't get it, man. They're blood maidens. So if you do a critical attack, the bad guys will blood splatter, and the blood splatter will get on the maidens, which will power them up. So, and if you get too much blood on you, you'll go into like a berserk mode and have like crazy attacks for one turn, and you can like kill things in one hit.
Hey, it's like Dark Metamorphosis from Symphony of the Night, and you understand that reference now, Nick.
I'm just glad
I
the
do.
blood is
I
red.
do.
But okay, so that's one thing, right? You can they're hinting that it might not be a good idea to over berserk yourself. So if you get too much blood, if you blood splatter yourself too much and go berserk, I don't know. They're like, oh, you might lose your mind and lose control of yourself.
You might grow hair in
your
your palm.
So that's one thing. I don't know how it's actually going to play out, but that's what they're hinting at right now.
No.
What?
Blood maidens going berserk. Is this about menstrual cycles?
I didn't think so.
Well, think about that metaphor next time.
Now we're
that you
all a little
mention it.
unsure.
Well, okay. Well, so the thing about it is, so I said that if you critical attack, you get a blood splatter, right? If you get too much blood splatter on you, you go berserk. They've hinted that it's not a good idea to go berserk. So how can you combat that? Because if you randomly get criticals on people and they're gonna splatter you, then how do you negate your bar filling up?
You can
whoa.
lick a blood
Okay.
maiden? Okay, now
We're gonna
stop.
lick each other.
If Otsu licks Little Mermaid's blood splatter,
Then she like heals, and you get some sort of party advantage, like regeneration or better defense for the turn or whatever.
Okay, so when you started first talking about this in terms of like being surprised this could be on a Nintendo platform, I was certainly not expecting.
It's pretty weird. I mean, like they're not showing anything, but they're talking about people getting like ripped, torn limb from limb, and like you're seeing their rotting carcass on the floor with. And wait, maybe I'm getting this confused with a different game that I played. But yeah, well, no, I was about to say something else.
No,
where there was
Mortal Kombat. My bad.
Well, there was one where I was playing this game where they were talking about like her body got thrown in the air and her like it was like her spinal cord resembled a shooting comet or something in the sky, and I was like, what? But that's Death End Request. Sorry, that's a different game.
I thought this was gonna be like a this is like a sexy game.
It kind of is. Later on, you're running into girls. You run into like an Etna character, and she's like half naked, and she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna be your friend." At first she's chasing you through the dungeon, trying to play tag with you, and if she catches you, then she kills your character. And then like halfway through, she's like, "Well, I've been reading this manga, and there's this term in this manga called friends, and you know what? I would really like friends. Can I join your party?" And you're like, okay, sure. And she joins your party now. And then she changes out of her sexy clothes and turns into like hero. She's like, I'm wearing my hero clothes. So she has like goggles and like some sort of weird hat on.
I'm gonna be honest, David. This is some weird shit.
It is. Well, it's weird for me because I just got it to pop it in.
It's weird
it's
for
like
David.
$80. It's $80 on Switch. Like if you try to buy the disc of the cartridge.
The dialogue on screen right
gotcha.
now says, I was just going to lick the blood that's coming out.
This reminds me. Remember, Brad? Remember when we were living together and I was watching a movie, and then like the little fish creature licked the boy's finger.
God damn it!
Ponyo?
Ponyo.
Yeah, I know where he's going.
Ponyo licks the blood or drinks the blood, and that grossed me out. Did I ever tell you I figured out what that means?
That you're normal?
No. So I was dating a Japanese girl for a while, and we were watching Ponyo, and I asked her because in the scene in Ponyo, there's a boy, and he cuts his finger on a piece of glass, and Ponyo's in his hand, and then the weirdest thing, Ponyo turns over, and goes, and just licks the blood off of his finger, and I always thought it was the weirdest thing because it's like, what the fuck? Why did he drink the blood? Like Ponyo is not a vampire, or is he a vampire? And I remember I was watching that movie with my ex at the time, and I was like, what does that mean? Why isn't that kind of gross? She's like, no, that's very caring. That's a very caring thing to do. So like when you cut your finger when you're a kid,
very unsanitary.
like mothers will grab their kid's finger and like suck the blood of their finger. The finger. It's is meant to be like mothery, almost like kissing a boo boo here. You know, like you scratch your knee and then let me kiss your boo boo.
Right.
That's how it's supposed to be. Like for some reason,
I thought it had something to do with saliva helping to like.
So like that too. I think that has part of it. Is the saliva has neutralizing, disinfecting qualities.
I think it helps the blood clot. Yeah.
Oh, is that what it is?
I think so.
Yeah. So that's a very I don't know. Apparently, that's a very Japanese thing. So in this game too, like one.
Don't get me wrong. I don't know if there's science behind that. I think that's just more of like an old thing.
The main character cuts her finger at the beginning or something, and then the other character's like, "Oh, I'm gonna suck the blood out of your finger," and so that's what the licking the blood off of the maidens is supposed to.
Okay, it's just without the context, it seems very weird.
Yeah. So.
I mean, with the context, it still seems pretty weird.
Yeah, that's very true. David, when did you discover this newfound love of these Grimrock-looking anime games?
No, I mean, I've been playing a bunch of weird.
These are surprisingly common. This type of game.
It's weird. So I don't know. Is it the way the game is designed? Because like I'm just like going through. The problem I have with these games, with Zonky Zero, with this game, is they have a mini map. And I find myself just looking at the mini map and not even paying attention to what's going on the screen because you just like doop 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 and you can just like tell what's going on from the mini map.
Well, I feel like that's like an indication of maybe a poorly designed
But how else would you do it? Because if you don't have a mini map, you're sitting there like wandering around the dungeon.
Well, it's probably because of the way it's designed, because of the genre, the style of game it is. It's like the world itself is very repetitive in terms of like the actual visual components that make up the world, because it's all like hallways and
there's a bunch of
right. I mean, isn't it all like? Is it like if you're just looking at the world, isn't it kind of hard to maybe figure out if I went this way or that way because it all kind of looks the same?
So this game, like, I don't know if you can see it on the side, but like there's like walls with like mouths on it, and then you go like later there's like walls with like trumpets on it, and I don't know, man. At first time I walked in a room, I thought the mouths were like gonna eat me because I walked in and he was like and then okay, he's just a decoration on the wall. I don't get it. I don't know.
It seems very
man.
Persona.
It's very, very weird. And then there's a part where I have to like
started out as one of these first-person dungeon crawlers.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
There's a part later where I'm like I have to swing across a gap, and then there's actually a rope like going back and forth, and I have to time it where I grab the rope and swing across, and I let go of it too soon, and I fell in the hole. And then there's actually like a tight rope that you walk across later, and you have to like use like the stick and like click, 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 and not like fall off the tight rope. This is it's weird because I've died like 2 or 3 times and it's been absolutely brutal where I'm just like walk. I run into a bad guy and my party gets wiped out in like 2 seconds. So
even the UI looks very Etrian Odyssey.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I don't know why. I want to say that I'm kind of already like really wrapped up into the characters in the story already because the gameplay I'm figuring is pretty generic, I guess. I mean, like licking the blood. Not
gonna surprise you much.
Well, I'm just saying, like licking the blood is okay. Like, kind of they're trying to make it an interesting mechanic, right? But as far as it goes for me, I'm just pressing a button, right? It's like, oh, do I press this button or do I press this button? Do I attack or do I lick the blood? It's not like a big thing like Brad's talking about Bravely Default, where it's like, do I want to stack up 4 moves here and save up? There's not really much thought about it. I'm just like spamming the attack, and then eventually, when I need life, I'll lick somebody's blood up. That's pretty much it. But that's
never thought I'd hear someone say that.
Yeah. Well, so it's weird because the story-wise, so I told you like in the beginning, I was in a dungeon and I was with one maiden, and we're trying to find another maiden. And we don't know who it is. So we find a bunch of prisoners and we start splashing blood on everybody's face because maidens' eyes will turn pink if they get Martian blood on them. So I find the maiden and she's like
blood?
Yeah, Martian.
It's better not to ask questions, Chris.
Marchen. Is that bad or something?
I don't know. It's just weird.
I just don't like it as splashing anything on maidens.
It's just weird.
Anyways, so we find her and something happens and she freaks out and she becomes, I don't know what happens to her. She freaks out, becomes like some Super Saiyan person, and her best friend gets killed. And then he gets transformed into a one-eyed ogre.
One-horn giant peewee?
No. He's like a one-eyed ogre and he's still the person, but he's like mutated. He got like wrapped up in blood tentacles and transformed.
Does he spit?
No, Nolan,
No,
don't.
he doesn't.
Just
He doesn't
resist
spit.
the urge. Let me stop you right there.
Anyways, so that's what happens, and then
Hey, I was surprised to see that this is a pretty well reviewed game.
this one versus the first one.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't look up
I
the
think
first
just in
one. I just looked
general.
up this one.
I mean,
I don't know. So
this is Compile Heart. They churn out a lot of RPGs, and very often too.
Did the first Mark Skelter get good reviews?
I don't know.
Mark
Mark Skelter.
I fixed that, by the way.
But anyway, so like I finished the first dungeon, I beat the first boss, and now I have like a base. Like all these prisoners that I released from the first dungeon they're now in a base, and one of them ends up being a blacksmith, so he's gonna like upgrade all my weapons, and one of them is a something else. Oh, one's of a shopkeeper, so he's gonna sell me items, and now I'm on a quest to go raid all the other dungeons and find all the rest of the blood maidens. And all the, you saw the opening in the beginning, right? And all the other blood maidens are cute and probably have interesting personalities. It's been pretty funny. It's been pretty funny as far as like meeting these characters and having different. I mean, that's I think that's what the strength of these games are, right? Is trying to like make characters that you try to care about, because the gameplay is pretty.
Knowing what I know about you and just the kinds of games you like to play, it seems like that would be kind of the drawing. Like the draw.
What, that I like character development.
Yes.
Let's go with that.
That is precisely what I mean.
I hope I don't know. I'm just worried about the combat because it seems kind of. Oh, there's one part too. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but like, so you do have a mini map, right? And I'm playing it on normal mode, so there's different options for difficulty. The hard mode, you never get a mini map at all. So I'm on normal mode. Which you have a mini map, except
it's like I choose hard, and that means I'm just lost all of the time.
So yeah, it's kind of hard to see. But I on the normal mode, you have a mini map until you get attacked by a nightmare. And so what happens with the nightmare is he shows up, he fogs everything, so you can't see anything, and he just chases you around. And you have to get out. You have to get out of the dungeon without him. If he grabs you, then you go into combat, and then you either have to run away or you have to knock him out so you can run. And you're just like running around in the dungeon with fog, and you can't see where it is. So that was pretty creepy when I had to do that for the first time, because like it just all of a sudden happened. All of a sudden, again, I've been paying attention all to the mini map the whole time. I haven't been learning the level at all. So I don't think you're going to be able to see it here, because I think it's still quite a ways away from where I am in the game. But
are you going to keep playing this?
I want to, but it's I don't know. I have it on GameFly, and I kind of want to send it back because there's a bunch of new stuff coming out.
And
I want to play it.
There is.
Well, I want to go buy it, but it's like $70-$80 right now on eBay. So
before we move on, I feel like it's pertinent that I mentioned that I just noticed when you're in combat, one of the options in the menu is lick.
Yeah, it is lick.
What is that doing?
There's another guy. There's another character. He does weird things, but if he goes berserk 3 times, then you game over. It's weird, man.
As long as one of them doesn't have an attack option called touch. It's just that's too much already.
Maybe on the Vita, because that did have a touch screen.
Oh no!
I was surprised that your team was called the Red Wings.
Oh my!
I feel like we should move.
We're moving
on. Before we cut to break, I feel like there's a few other things, quick updates. Nolan, I know you've played like 200 more hours of Valheim.
Pretty sure I'm not even at like 70 yet.
I'm teasing, but what's your house look like now?
According to Steam, I'm at 61 hours.
That's still pretty impressive.
I mean, if you want to see my house, you can just roll the footage that I have of the game.
Yeah,
because there's footage of me at my house.
I want to see how
MTV Cribs. I want to see it.
Yeah, on a boat.
Yes, I am. Yeah, Jaeger and I have played a lot of Valheim. I had just gone. I established kind of a new base in a new area, but the problem is here you can watch me drift into the dock. The problem is when you're in a new area, Well, to build certain things, you need certain like resources, and the problem is sometimes those resources are hard to find, like iron and copper and stuff like that. Um, the thing is, I have plenty of that at my home base, but the problem is you can't teleport that. You can't take it through a teleporter. You have to
You have to
physically pick it up and
physically
walk it
carry
somewhere.
that shit.
So what I was doing here was like I jumped in our boat and I kind of sailed down the shore until I found an area where I know there will be copper. I mined a bunch and I'm on my way back with the new copper I just got. Because I'm trying to, like I said, upgrade this new base. Jaeger and I got to kind of like I would say a late game area called the Plains, and the reason I say that is not like in theory, within 15 minutes you could probably find the biome Plains, but the reason I call it late game is because there are enemies there that hit hard. I've been killed by them at least 3 or 4 times, and they are not like bosses; they are just like an enemy you can run into. They're called like Fulings, Fuling. They look like little gremlins. You're actually going to see me fight some if we get to that point in the footage. But even now that I'm wearing like upgraded armor and blah blah blah, I get attacked by a level 2 one, and like when I go to block him, he just like knocks my shield away. He's like, "Fuck your shield." So they're pretty dangerous little creatures. So anyway, that's why I'm trying to kind of like beef up my base in this area, because there is there's some new like stuff you can grow, barley and flax, and you can use that to craft like better like food, but it only grows in the plains. So I have to establish a base that is secure enough in that area to protect myself from them, because if they find it, they'll go and just like destroy your crops.
Yeah,
they're like, fuck your crops. So anyway, this is me. I'm in Jaeger's base right now because that's where that portal I took goes to.
Jesus.
It's going to get a little framey. My computer runs this okay when you're in like a wide open area, but when there's too many assets, it starts to kind of fuck up. And you can actually see me here. There's like a console command that I'm trying to run to help. Like the game, a lot of times games will give you an option in the menu for like change draw distance.
Yeah.
You can't do that in this game. You have to do it via like a console command.
Oh my
and
God.
So that was me trying to, because I mean it's still in early access. That was me trying to like make things load better. So anyway, this is my current house. Y'all have seen it's not too changed from what y'all have seen before. But I did expand the upstairs a little bit, and I have a portal that goes to my new base in the current one.
Your summer home.
Yeah. Some of the big things that have changed is actually we have a few community members that are in the server. I don't think I've talked about it since they've joined. But like Sky is in there, Victus, Gray Wolf.
You're still in all the FF14
Gray
players.
Fox.
Yeah. Yeah. Gray. I just call him Gray. Is his name Gray Fox or Gray Wolf?
Gray Fox.
Gray Fox.
Yeah, Gray Wolf. I don't know why I saw him Gray Wolf. I always just call him Gray. Anyway,
how dare you?
Yeah, I'm a horrible person.
No, well, it's like calling a furry, like a fox furry, a wolf furry is like it's the
punishable
biggest
by
insult.
death.
Punishable. Actually, I don't know.
Yikes. So anyway, I actually kind of go exploring because they've kind of expanded our area. I definitely have not played as much as a lot of other people. Jaeger's played a little more than me. He's got a little more established. But this, we put like a forward front to our base because we do get attacked by like events happen, like, a bunch of skeletons show up or a couple of trolls will just randomly walk up to your base. But as you can see, we've kind of established like a little town where you can kind of walk down the path and there's other houses and huts and stuff. And dude, like as soon as I start getting into as soon as you start getting into areas, at least on my old computer, where there's a lot of shit built up, I start dropping frames like crazy. Like the funny thing is Jaeger and I found a new area where we knew the next boss was. Often when you're exploring, you'll find like crypts and stuff, and you'll find like a tome in there, and it's like, hey, by the way, here's the location of the next boss, and it just puts like a marker up on your map, but you don't really know where that is. And so we found where it was, so we got in our boat and we sailed there, and as soon as we got there, we found a spawner for greylings. So they're like kind of like an early enemy, not too hard, just kind of annoying. And we found like a spawner for them. And so what we had done, because we saw something online about it, where someone had done something similar. So what we did was we essentially dug a trench around the spawner, and put a bunch of fire pits in it. So when the enemies spawn, they fall into the fire and die, and then we can just collect their resources.
Oh, you weren't farming them for XP, just resources?
No, you don't really get XP as much in this game. It's more of everything is skill based. So whenever you swing your sword, you earn points towards your sword. Whenever you run, there's not really experience for killing enemies. It's more about the loot. But the funny thing is
you level up your assholishness.
Exactly. So as soon as we had placed all the fires and everything, Jaeger was like, dude, I can't go over there. My game starts like chugging. I'm getting down into like the 30 frames a second. And I was like, that's my secret, Jaeger. I'm always at 30 frames a second.
Like 30 frames per second, like it's that bad.
Trust me, it's not a smooth when this game chugs, and it's not like you're just now running at 30 frames a second. It's more of a it's like kind of chugging up and down and stuff. It's not a fun experience. You can kind of see it in this footage. It definitely doesn't run great, but I think that also might have been because I was also capturing footage. I definitely would love a new computer. But yeah, so as you can see, we've come a long way since the last time I streamed, or we talked about this on the feed. We went
from a mansion to a castle.
Yeah, there's so much you can do. I just got barley for the first time, like milled barley, so I can make fish tacos. They heal you for a good amount. It's one of those things where you're constantly changing. Like I used to run around with like some berries and some cooked meat, but now I have sausage, turnip stew, and fish tacos as I'm running around to
I don't think
eat.
they made fish tacos. At least they probably didn't call them fish tacos back then.
Probably not. It was probably just fish in some unleavened bread or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. Anyway, I don't know what else there is. I haven't fought the next boss yet. I know it's a dragon.
Wait, what number boss are you on?
That would be number 4. I think.
See, it seems like you could probably kill these bosses if you wanted to, right? For as long as you played, right?
I think Jaeger said that the next boss is. I think he beat it on his own. Okay. So probably where we're at, I could. I definitely don't have everything like maxed out. It's one of those things where making an iron sword is easy. Getting an iron sword to its highest level is hard. Same thing. Like making a silver sword, you only need 20 silver. That's like one trip. But then the problem is each sword has 3 or 4 levels or whatever, and so you don't need 20 silver to make a good sword. You need 60 or 80 silver, and when you can only carry 30 pieces at a time, it takes a while to do that. I know this footage is kind of dark. I recorded at nighttime in the game, so sorry about that. It just happened to be when it was. But yeah, this is my new fort, and you can see that it's kind of surrounded by stone walls because these guys will fucking start just attacking it. And I can't see what my health is right now. It's over 100. But here in we don't have to get there in the footage. We can stop here in a second. But I hear the laughing because these foolings, the little gremlin things, they cackle, and so you'll know they're nearby because you'll hear them cackling, and all of a sudden they just start attacking shit.
That's kind of cool, but being out on top of the tower at night and just hearing them out in the woods.
Yeah. And so I go out to investigate the cackling, and I thought, if I find a single fooling, whatever, I can take him. But the problem is they don't always travel alone. They travel in fucking packs of 3, 4, 7. And so I think the last time I ran into a pack of 7, I just fucking ran. I was like, nope, no, thank you. I'm going to die. And the problem is dying in this game is not nothing. You lose levels of experience.
Oh, we remember.
So, it sucks when you're level 52 running, and all of a sudden you die, and it's nope, now you're 49, and it sucks that I don't know if it's that drastic, but you definitely lose a lot of experience points. But yeah, so this level 2 fooling, you'll see him hit me because I'm kind of, I know he's dangerous, but I don't know how dangerous. I was trying to take out the little one, but this big guy just walks up and bashes right through my shield, and at one point I think he does 80 damage to me, which is over half my health. And so I just eventually I'm fuck that, and I just bail.
Fuck it and run.
Yeah, but anyway, so it's still fun. There's still more to do and more to kind of explore in this land, and
this was all a very long-winded long-winded update way of saying that they've added fish tacos, Nolan, which is the important thing we should all take away from this.
Fooling around some more.
Oh
I mean, I eventually kill him, but it takes me a long time, basically, because I kite him around with my bow because he's very dangerous. Anyway,
this game's pretty cool.
That's it. Yeah,
All right.
it's still having fun. There's still a lot to do.
Oh, I have no doubt. Well, we'll check back in with you more in the future because it sounds like you're going to keep playing this with Jaeger and community and such. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we have community. We have a bunch of questions to answer. So we'll do that. We'll wrap up the 4-player minute, and I think we probably have just a couple quick impressions, quick mentions, I guess, at the start of the next segment. So if you're watching us live, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. I would control that bitch. All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. Before we get into community stuff, I do want to check in with Brad. I know you wanted to give an update on your time with Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I finished A Realm Reborn. That's the base game, but you don't immediately head into expansions. There's years of patches that were released with new content and new like story stuff before the expansion came out. So you have to play through all that shit before you.
There's like a gray area. There's like a limbo between.
A limbo. Well, they're called patch numbers. They have patch numbers.
What is the significance of you playing Final Fantasy 14? What is it?
We can't get into that. I said this would be brief. Go back and listen to the podcast where I first talk about it. I explain all of that. I finished A Realm Reborn, and when you finish A Realm Reborn, it unlocks flying, and you get a new mount. You get a Magitech armor, like from Final Fantasy VI, right? Because you use it in the story or whatever, right? And I had a Chocobo before, and when you ride a Chocobo, it plays the Chocobo theme, or this game's version of the Chocobo theme. And I got it pretty early on when I started playing, so I went into the menu, and you could disable the mount music because mounts have their own songs, right? Obviously, the Chocobo had a Chocobo song. And when I'm going into all these new areas, exploring on my Chocobo, I don't want to just hear the Chocobo theme. I want to hear the themes of the land, right? Of the different areas. So I turned off the mount music. So I got this Magitech armor, and I was like, oh, this is cool, right? But I remembered that, because I watched a video about it. When you get the Rathalos, it plays the Monster Hunter theme, right? It plays the Monster Hunter theme when you're flying around and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. So it just dawned on me. I'm like, wait a minute. And I went to the menu and I turned on the mount music. When I was in my Magitech armor, fucking played Terra's theme. And I was like, I get it. This game is dirty. It's disgusting with those nostalgia plays, Just, fuck. Killed me. This game's got me. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Monster Hunter comes out tonight, so
well, tonight's the real test, right? Like, if you find yourself playing Final Fantasy 14 in the next week, we should be concerned.
Well,
That's
depends.
What you said, isn't it?
It depends. First of all, the game where I'm at is still bad and kind of a slog, right? I haven't actually started Heaven's Ward, right, where everything gets good. But the reason I could still end up playing Final Fantasy 14 is because I've been playing while watching bad TV with Malia, right? Because it's a game you don't really have to pay attention to. I'm just like clicking through dialogue and completing quests, so I can hang out with Malia, which I would normally do anyways, right? No, because I can't do that with other games, right? I can't play Monster Hunter.
I can't do that with good games.
Get upset at you? Does she not expect more of her husband?
No, look,
you can't even hang out with her normally. You got to be playing some shitty game on the side.
No. You're not listening to me. I'm saying I would never do that. Before we would hang out and watch bad television, and I would not be playing something, right? Because the kind of games I play.
You loved her still.
Well, because look, there's a time in a relationship
where before marriage.
You might watch like an interesting movie, and then there's a time where you watch like crap, right? And I was like, well, if we're gonna watch this crap anyways, I could play Final Fantasy 14.
She's okay with this. She's okay with you not paying attention.
It was her fucking idea.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she doesn't care. So we got through, we watched like 2 seasons of 90 Day Fiancé, and I got a lot of shit done in Final Fantasy 14. So what I'm saying is, if you see me on Final Fantasy 14, it's because I'm watching TV with Malia. because if she's not around, I'm fucking playing Monster Hunter.
Okay, so it's not because you actually enjoy this game. It's just
no. I have not been enjoying what I've been playing, but I've talked about that on the podcast.
I cannot believe, like, here's the thing, like, when I played Final Fantasy 14, I was even enjoying my time playing it, and I still only stopped after about 20 hours.
I don't believe
he's not even enjoying it, and you're like, how many hours now?
You wouldn't have stopped if you were enjoying it.
What is this 90-day fiance you're talking about? What
we can't get into that either.
Garbage.
We can't get into that either. I will say again.
Well, just tell me the premise of the show.
It's in the title.
The 90 days.
90 days. So that means you meet somebody, and within 90 days you have to make them your friend.
The 90-day visa thing. Mail bride. That's
okay. So it's not about 90 days, and you try to get as many fiancés as possible, or
that's not how that works.
Swap your fiancés for 90 days.
I'd watch that show too, to be honest. But listen, I'm trying to wrap this up. It's I just want, like, a final thing I want to say is thank you to the community, because I'll get to a point where it's forced multiplayer. I have to fight a boss or I have to do a dungeon, and I go into Discord like, hey, can y'all help me with this? I can listen to y'all. Like, if we're doing a boss and I need to listen to their instructions, like I was fighting Leviathan the other day, I need to listen to their instructions. I'm like, I can listen, but I can't chat. If I say that, it's because I'm hanging out with Malia watching TV.
That's fucking funny.
So yeah, I could still keep playing at least up to Heaven's Ward, where I actually have to start paying attention. So I'll be on.
That's the saddest. Like, that's so demoralizing. Like, I was kind of getting excited that you were playing this online game. I was going to relate it back to the whole Diablo 2 remastered conversation we had, where I said I don't think you have it anymore. I don't think you can do it. I was like, oh wow, he's playing Final Fantasy online game. Maybe he does have it. Maybe he does.
You don't think I could get it up for Diablo?
I'm telling you, not, dude.
I recommend David.
He's just going through the motions. Bullshit.
I recommend David going back and listening to the conversation where I first talk about Final Fantasy 14. I say a lot about why I'm playing it and why I don't like it and all that stuff. But we should move on.
I have a quick
Diablo.
You brought up Diablo, bitch.
No, but
I have
he made
a quick
it sound
update.
like he could do it. He can't. Go ahead. Sorry.
I have a quick update. Since the last podcast, I played all the way through Half-Life 2 and both episodes.
Really?
Obviously, obviously not.
Was that pretty quick?
Not a lot. 22 hours, I think, total is what.
Oh wow.
Dude, those what are
the
those
last podcast? Like a week ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. What are those ant things? Some
ant
lions?
lions?
Ant lions? Those are fucking so annoying.
That they are.
Oh damn it! Remember Davis when you were recommending me play Black Mesa?
Yes.
I bought that
Black
game. I
Mesa
still haven't
too.
played that yet.
You really should.
Since you were last on the show, I played all the way through Black Mesa, which is why I then rolled right into playing Half-Life 2, because I was still really enjoying Black Mesa when it was done.
Do you ever feel bad going back and playing games that you've already played when there's tons of other stuff you could be
No, I have reached a point. I have reached a point in my life where
you play the stuff
I am actively trying to make sure I am replaying stuff.
Initially
I'm doing that right now.
Surprised. Initially, I was shocked and surprised that Nick said that, or was doing that with games, but then I thought about how often he rewatches Smallville, and I'm like, that actually makes perfect sense.
I was like, I hear you every time I see your Twitter. You're watching something. I was like, hasn't Nick already watched that? Like,
I'm halfway. I've restarted watching Justified. I'm almost done with season 2. That show is fucking phenomenal.
That's fine, right? That's his 90-day fiance, right? You all need like bullshit comfort shit.
90-Day Fiance is trash. Justified is chef's kiss.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean towards.
That show is
I've
incredible.
never seen Justified, but I will lean towards Nick that comparing Justified to 90 Day Fiance is not very fair.
You're missing my fucking point. I'm saying like a third rewatch of a show is like something you just have on. It's not something you sit down and fucking take notes to or anything.
Well, the things that I rewatch, I'm usually pretty passionate about.
He could play Final Fantasy 14 while watching his 5th viewing of Smallville.
I have never been able to split my attention between watching something and playing something. I'm either doing one or the other.
You watch Smallville with 100% attention?
Yeah.
The condescending nature of the way
Yes, that was pretty condescending. I have since
I've Smallville.
I have put down Smallville for a while. But I'm now on season 9 of Supernatural. So, you know.
What is Supernatural about? It's something about
Okay.
No,
we
no.
cannot
I've seen these names before, but I don't have no clue what any of these movies or
It's
shows.
about Supernatural. All right, let's move on.
Somebody has like superpowers.
Sure.
You should.
It's almost like heroes.
Yep.
You should just go boot up Supernatural on Netflix. Hey, let me just say,
Not to
Half-Life
derail the
2.
conversation. This is a serious question. I did want to ask this. Did y'all watch the Snyder Cut?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Ooh. Wait, but y'all talked about it last week. I wasn't here last week.
I'm going to talk about it about 4-player minute.
No, it came out on Friday. Yeah.
4-player minute, guys. This is 4-player minute material. I will
Thursday,
talk about the Snyder Cut in the 4-player minute for sure.
I just wanted to bring it up while I was thinking about it.
I definitely did. But anyways, I played all through Half-Life 2. That game's pretty fucking great. Still,
I don't think I ever.
We've been new, Nick. We've been new.
Now
I know, but you know what? I have such a deeper appreciation for that now in a post Half-Life Alyx world. I think.
Why?
It is pretty incredible because I had forgotten like a lot of the story beats
of it, having played the new next gen, new hot shit with new technology.
No. It has. I mean, no. It's more like the stuff Half-Life Alyx does, narratively speaking, is really important and really cool, and it sets up like when you look at how Half-Life 2 Episode 2 ended, and not just in terms of like that big cliffhanger, but like just it looks like what they were getting ready to set up with Half-Life Episode 3 or Half-Life 3, and then you look at what they did with Half-Life Alyx, like where they go, like if they were to just roll straight now into Half-Life 3, the potential for that is really exciting. Like more exciting now than it was at the end of Half-Life Episode 2, which I think is a real testament to what Half-Life Alyx is, because I certainly did not expect that to add anything really meaningful to the like underlying story of Half-Life 2, but it totally does. So, yeah.
JJ Macfield, please play a new game, Nick. Just try it.
I got a lot of games on my plate.
I
but
know.
I'll see
You don't need
what
to
I
go back and play these old games.
I still got to finish playing Lust from Beyond, okay?
Lust from
And
Beyond.
I
from the
feel like you
Borderlands
should have
episode
finished that by now.
What's Lust from
No,
Beyond? That sounds
I was going to finish that this week, but I got totally pulled into my Half-Life 2 replay, so.
That is fair.
First
That's more
question,
than fair.
Nolan. Hit us.
Was there any feedback we were going to do, Nick?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Just a little bit. Again, I went a while without doing these, so I understand it's been a little slow going here. But again, I want to remind you guys, if you want to chime in, comments, ask a question, follow-up question, anything we talk about on the podcast tonight, leave us a comment at 4playernetwork.com on the post for this episode. From last week, we have a comment from Slopdog, who says, "So glad to hear YTMND remembered." What is
You're the
that
man now, dog.
You're the man now, dog. Remembered from a time when memes were called fads. That came up. That came up last week when we were talking about websites we used to spend time on.
It was from a viewer question last week.
But yeah, so that definitely came up. And Mr. Dude says, "My mom walked in while Nick was talking about Lust from Beyond, and I instinctively panicked. Thankfully, it was just audio, though. Yes, because we did blur the footage from last week."
I listened to that podcast, by the way.
What did you think of the podcast, Brad?
I like the part where Crispy talked about Iceborne.
I bet you did.
You didn't like when I talked about Lust from Beyond?
That was okay.
You bastard. Anyways, again,
Nick, you should play Criminal Girls.
What? What the fuck is that? No. Okay. Again,
I'm gonna give it to you on Steam.
If you want to leave a comment, please go to 4playernetwork.com and leave us a comment for that episode. But now we're going to read some questions from our supporters on Patreon and Twitch. And again, we're trying something a little new with news. If there is a news topic, if there's a current event that you really want to hear us talk about, consider leaving us a question about it. That's kind of where, I mean, unless something is like obviously really big and really important, we're probably going to pull news topics from the community if y'all will ask about them. So just keep that in mind going forward. So with that in mind, Nolan, read us some questions.
All right. First question this week from the Drunken Merchant.
Oh, that guy.
With the recent findings of the Zelda 64 beta, what are some games you would love to see betas, alphas, and/or have early development info leaked? Earthbound 64 is a good go-to, but I'd personally love to see some Silent Hill 2 alpha locations that never made it in.
That would be interesting.
Back in the day when the demo for Metal Gear Solid 2 came out with Zone of the Enders,
Oh yeah.
if you had access to a Game Shark, there was content that was in the demo that wasn't supposed to be in there, like the uniform that Raiden wears to disguise himself as one of the guards on the big shell. Based on all those trailers that they put out showing Snake wandering through the big shell, I would want to see what content was cut. What is there? What wasn't there?
I bet there's all kinds of interesting stuff that was cut from like a lot of the Metal Gear games, but yeah, Metal Gear Solid 2 in particular would be interesting for sure. He mentioned Silent Hill 2, which would certainly be interesting, but
Metal Gear Solid 5.
I feel like games that maybe like changed up like kind of big time, like through the course of development, like Alan Wake. Didn't Alan Wake start as like an open world game?
Dude,
that would be
well,
cool.
Yeah,
to see
Alan
how
Wake
that
was
worked.
Alan Wake was in like a state of development hell for a very long time, and it probably went through a lot of iterations. So I'm sure there's probably tons of versions of that game that never saw the light of day.
Halo started as an RTS, right?
Did it?
I did not know that.
It started as an RTS, and then it became a third-person shooter, and then a first.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would love to watch.
Where do you think Halo Wars came from? They was. Based on that
I just
concept.
figured that was them taking the next logical step. But hey, interesting. I feel
Scalebound.
like
oh my god, Scalebound.
Oh,
Blah blah in chat said.
I mean, yeah, this would be a good time to like mention just games that never quite saw the light of day, I guess.
Routine.
Too. But
Is it just me, or wasn't there like, didn't they tease like a Rock Band Japan?
Oh yeah, that sounds really familiar.
I think so.
For some reason,
really familiar.
I remember like writing up a list of songs that I wanted to see if that game came out, and I don't remember if I just wrote it up because I wanted to, or if
It either
they actually had
existed
an idea.
or you talked about it wanting it so much that I'm remembering it as existing in some form.
I've got a good answer. Resident Evil 4. That there was obviously that Resident Evil 3.5 that was
every version of that.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember? So somebody in chat just said Mega Man Legends 3. Do you remember when that happened?
Yeah,
like,
the demo.
Inafune was
the demo
like
came out,
drawing like characters for that.
Yeah.
Huh.
I would have loved a Mega Man Legends 3.
Oh yeah, and he was asking people to pick the ones they like the best and stuff
And
like that.
everyone's like, they all suck. It's terrible, man. People suck, dude.
Let's move on. Next question this week from Question Mork from Ireland. Favorite level name?
Ooh,
Level name.
yeah.
These
Level name.
The
This is the
Silent
kind of thing that's
Cartographer
hard
is a really good name.
Why?
Is it?
The Silent Cartographer? I think that's a great
Why?
name.
But
What
why
does
is
it
the
mean?
name good?
Why does he have to justify his love for that name?
He doesn't have to justify.
Because
That's fine.
it's a great level, and it also
Is that
like
Halo-
references
is it
like
great
an
level?
objective.
Wait, is that Halo?
Oh, maybe
2
I'm
or
getting
Halo-
That's Halo 1.
confused.
Halo
Archives.
1.
The archives
That-
were bad. Which is the one that you
Doom
got
has some
lost
good
in?
level.
Every single room looked the same
Tricks
Wait,
and
in what
Traps is a
game?
good level.
in Halo. Like the first Halo, there was one level where every fucking thing looked exactly the same.
The
You
library.
like turned the library. Okay, I thought I said archives. My bad.
No, nobody likes the library. Even Bungie admits they didn't like the library, but it's what they had to do.
But
They
the
had to rush.
name to the library, amazing.
I wish I was better at remembering names. I feel like Dishonored. I feel like probably has some really good. Those levels have names, don't they?
Do these games?
Probably. I mean, I think you could probably substitute level names for maybe like area names.
Ooh.
Like
Also-
then I got it.
Turok 2 has some incredible level names. Lair of
Like
the Blind Ones.
It's called the Forge of Hours. There was a level called Forge of Hours.
Brad, this is the part where you
Nolan.
start mentioning locations from Hitman.
What was Nolan
What's up,
gonna
man?
say?
Do you remember the Forge of Hours? Right?
I was trying to think of like some like Dark Souls names, like Tomb of Giants or something. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of like Dark Souls areas that have like
just some badass names.
We don't go to Ravenholm.
Yes.
Quaylog's domain. Oh yeah, we don't go to Ravenholm. That's a good one.
Yeah, Ravenholm was really good.
It's kind of arbitrary though, right? I mean, only some games even name levels really, and
I feel like
some actually do cool things with the names, and some just don't.
I mean, so many games, especially. I mean, you know, like the way. Maybe this is kind of not entirely accurate, but I mean, I feel like a lot of like AAA games and whatnot, like big releases, don't really even structure their games into like levels much anymore.
It's not even levels. Like we don't go to Ravenholm as the name of a chapter, right?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. You could think of it as like chapters or whatever. In theory, you know, when you play like the Uncharted games, those have like chapter names, which essentially becomes that is the level you are playing. You know, what's the difference? You know, I remember when Uncharted 4 came out that year. In one of my not my top 10, in the award show, I gave the For Better or Worse chapter of that game. That was like one of my best moments or whatever. That's the section where Nate and Elena are like riding the elevator, having that really long conversation, and it kind of turns into like this kind of big thing. I don't know. That's an example. They definitely do happen, but yeah, it is, I guess, less common.
Which Uncharted game is that?
4.
I just played all the way through Uncharted 1 through 3 this year too.
Hey, we never talked about that, did we?
No.
So hold on, quick question. Quick question. So Nick, how was Uncharted 3?
Oh, he did talk about that. I think he specifically talked about 3.
Okay, maybe I missed that podcast.
I think Uncharted 3 might be my new favorite in the trilogy, the original trilogy.
Dude, me and Brad have talked about it before. I think people misremember that game coming off of 2. They like to hate on 3, but I haven't met too many people who have gone back and replayed 3 and not been like, I really fucking like that game.
3 was good because I couldn't get through 3, but that was PS3.
3 is so good. I was so much more invested, I feel like, in the story of 3 and the characters and just like the play, like the settings, the backdrops were so good.
Running around like in a museum, right? Like
there's one part when you're young Nate. Yeah,
I forgot young Nate was even introduced in 3. I thought young Nate didn't make an appearance until 4, but I was like, oh shit, I completely forgot. The only thing I remember about 3 was the cruise ship and like climbing up the cruise ship as it was sinking and whatnot.
I feel like not to change.
I still hate the combat in that series though. I still hate it. I still hate it.
Crazy. I feel like the Uncharted movie's not going to be very good. Did y'all hear the quote from what's his face, Drake?
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. Well, he commented on his performance, and he was like, "I kind of wish I didn't play the character the way that I played it." And that's I think that's like all he said. But anytime someone says something negative after they filmed a movie, it's usually a bad sign. So I'm kind of worried.
Dang.
I mean, Adam Driver's like that all the time, though.
He might also just be really self-conscious.
I would lean towards that.
And not to mention, you can work a lot of magic in post-production.
Brad.
For example, the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
What about the Mine of
All Gillied Up. All Gillied Up. Thank you, Lemur Dragon.
Really good level.
That's a good level name too.
Remember the Mine of Precious Moments, Brad?
No.
Okay. No.
Cool. All right. Next question from Ryan, aka the Hair Yeti. If you haven't discussed this already, what would you like to see in the future from the horror genre? Seeing as a lot of horror games have followed the Amnesia and Outlast walking simulator formula, would you like developers to try and break out of this trend, or are you happy with the way things are? Thanks, guys. Keep up the great work.
Brad?
I want to see a grab these two.
Of course, I remember Mine of Precious Moments from Blinks the Time Sweeper, David. Horror games.
You never even got that far, David.
Okay. So someone brought up Phasmophobia in chat, which is great. Like that's like a super fresh idea for the horror genre. I love it. But in general, like I was kind of ranting earlier about so many indie horror games just being pseudo point and click adventure games. I was talking about it a little bit in chat when Nick was playing that Mundaun game. is that I wish they do a horror game, but where the puzzles are more engaging, kind of like how like the puzzles in a good puzzle game, right?
He said this the other day while I was streaming, and I was like, Brad, it sounds like you want like Saw the video game, but in order to escape from all these traps, you have to solve witness puzzles. That's what.
First of all, the context does not
bad.
fucking. The context does not fucking matter to me. I don't care about the context.
See, that's where we're totally different.
So someone's job. You make a good video game first, and if someone can turn that into a good story, more power to them. I just want to do, good fucking puzzles. Like, give me The Witness, but scary. I don't know. I want.
What would be the purpose of it? Why would you be solving puzzles to run away from
horror? I think
it's
horror as a genre,
the context.
Horror as a genre is very is one of the few instances where I think context is super important.
I disagree. So like we talk about like the modern Tomb Raider games, right?
It's the context that scares you.
They have a lot of fucking issues, right? But like the tombs, they're really fucking good, right? There's like really good puzzle design in there. It is not hard to like push. It's not hard to push those modern Tomb Raider games a little bit further into the direction of like complete horror, but you'd still have like really good fucking puzzles and stuff. Give me something like that.
I also feel like because a lot of the conversation we had the other day, or I guess conversation, you were typing, I was talking, but it almost all in my head. If you entertain the idea and if you go down the rabbit hole, I feel like you always end up in a scenario where it's like it just kind of comes back to combat, like to push Tomb Raider a little bit, modern Tomb Raider a little bit farther, and you're going to end up with a game that looks and feels like the end, like the last few chapters of Uncharted 1, where it's like it's scary. And there are some puzzles, but you're running for your life from these creepy things.
No. What I'm saying is take Tomb Raider and push it a little further into the direction of horror. And again, I'm referring specifically to like the tombs and stuff. I don't need combat for those to be good, but also I like combat in my horror games. My favorite horror games have combat.
Sure. I mean, I'm not. Here's the thing. Like I love combat in horror games too, but I also love a lot of horror games that have barely any combat to speak of at all. And maybe that's just me liking the genre in general, that I just kind of appreciate all the different forms it takes.
Have you guys ever played Murdered Soul Suspect?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I didn't finish it, but I've played it.
It was a good idea, but it was a one-trick pony.
It was not good.
Really?
Someone in chat brings up great fucking.
No, it's the mystery, right? It's the mystery. Like somebody gets murdered, and you go through and you like find all the clues. You try to figure out what happened.
I know, but at the end of the day, that turns kind of back. It kind of comes back around to what Brad said he doesn't like, which is basically becoming like a point where you're typically looking for clues and items to help you trigger events.
You're doing the same kind of puzzle loop for every single event. And it just gets
Gigamir chat brings up
Murdered Soul Suspect. There's a way to do that without doing it.
Gigamir in chat brings up Sam Barlow, which every time I play one of his games, Telling Lies, and the one before that,
Telling
Her Story,
Lies,
right?
was kind of like horror-y.
Every time you're searching for videos, it's like if something scary happens, I'd be fucking terrified. And now he's actually working on a horror game, and that could be fucking amazing, right? It's like a found footage horror film, but you're finding the videos and popping them in yourself. It's horrifying. So I don't know, do something creative or just make the gameplay better. That's my answer.
Moving on. Next question. Alex from London, Zany 665 on Discord. Y'all like beer? In the UK, craft beer is massive. What's it like in the US? Have any of you found a bottle shop or pub that you like going to for it? I want to start this with, well, not necessarily, but sure. We had a conversation in Discord about this a couple of weeks ago. I was talking with Jaeger because Jaeger's pretty into craft beers, and he was asking me if I'd gone to like a bottle shop. And I had to explain to him that those don't necessarily exist here in the way they do in the UK. While there are a few like liquor stores here, it's not the same. For the most part, I think a majority of people around here probably get their beer either from like a grocery store, or
what is the definition of
maybe
a bottle shop?
it's like literally like a liquor store, but like beer and like a little more involved. Like here, when you go to like, at least from my experiences, to like a liquor store, I wouldn't call it like a fun experience. You know what I'm saying? Like whenever you go into one, it's not like I kind of want to hang out in here, and it always feels kind of like I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
Kind of like get your shit and go.
Yeah. But I've never been to a bottle shop. But what I will say is, when I was in Canada, I was trying to find some of like their local beers and stuff like that, and so we went to like a grocery store that was near our hotel, and there was no beer. They had like 2 beers, and that's it. And I was like, do y'all not sell beer? And like, no, they sell those at the beer store. And I was like, oh, okay, sure. And so, yeah, I heard him talking to someone else saying it was down the road. And so me and Berna get in the car, and I'm like, well, they said it was just down the road, so let's go. And we're driving down the road, and I'm like, where is this place? And literally, we come from around like a big row of trees, and there it is, beer store. It just says the words beer store in a big sign. I'm like, I guess this is it. Way better than anything we have around here. Yeah, they had a shit ton of craft beers. It's a situation where it is very easy to just pick like 6 beers and put them in a pack and take. You like here, that's not really a thing. It's mix and match. It's a thing that kind of exists, but it's not really prominent around here. I really wish that was more common, just to be able to try things.
That's more prominent if you actually go to like a brewery or something, and they have like a lot of.
So the only problem with going to breweries is a lot of the time, I don't want to say they don't sell beer, but a lot of times they don't necessarily have like to go. Like sometimes, yes, you can buy like a 6-pack or you can buy like a crowler, but that's not as common. And I also think that certain breweries won't even like fill them or sell them. It depends on the area you're in.
Yeah.
Like there's a brewery near me that they don't fill like growlers. You can't like actually have yours filled up there. I think you can buy like a 6-pack. So I think that the environments are really different, and I don't know if that's just has to do with like regulations on selling alcohol. Like they have some weird laws and stuff around that.
That I'm not sure if it's in other countries. Like, and it still boggles my mind that fucking beer, is it called a beer barn or whatever?
Yeah.
Where we have drive-through liquor stores here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how we do that.
I would say that probably because kind of going back to the whole like craft thing, a majority of beer drinkers around here, they just want the cheap beer. Mm-hmm. And so they're just like, give it to me, give me the alcohol, and then I'm gone.
It's mostly that you're driving up in your car and handing it to people through the window, and then we're sitting here talking about why do we have so many drunk drivers? Well, maybe we should stop selling it to them at their fucking window.
Well, Nick, to make a point on that, how do I don't walk my beer home from the store. I walk it from the store to my car and then drive it home. So like, I understand. Don't get me wrong. Now, selling like
when you see a beer barn
drinks at a beer barn, that's a little more different because like, oh, we seal the top. It's like a fucking boba. They seal the top, so you have to puncture it. But no, anyway, I wish that we had a better scene. But I will say that Austin, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of other cities. Austin's one of the better cities around. We do have a lot of smaller breweries. We do have a lot of craft beers. I think we've talked about them a few times on the show.
We have a lot of restaurant / pubs that are known for specifically having like 300 beers on tap, like the Flying Saucer, I think is one of the ones we have here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So where it's just literally like a huge wall and you just like tons of taps. So if you're into craft beer, it's a great place to just go and just try whatever sounds good to you.
I mean, before the pandemic, that's definitely what we would do. You would definitely go like to Pint House Pizza, which is called Pint House Pizza because they have a brewery attached to their pizza shop. And you could just get a flight and just try a bunch of different beers. And that was something I definitely miss doing is trying out new things like that.
There used to be...
I finally tried that jellyfish one.
What'd you think?
Okay.
There used to be a bottle shop.
How dare you?
Off of South Lamar near where the Draft House is. Mm-hmm. I'm not certain if it's there anymore, but might stop by there.
An actual bottle shop?
Yeah, an actual bottle shop.
I'm sure they exist. Like I said, they're just less common around here.
It was right next to Black Sheep Lodge.
Oh,
yeah,
I know that place.
Yeah.
I do like craft beers a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there. The only problem is generally they're a lot more expensive, and a lot of times they can just be a little more hard to come by.
That electric jellyfish, which I always keep in stock here, is
so fucking expensive.
It's like basically $20 for a 4-pack. So
it is good.
It is
good.
And they are a little bit bigger than your average size.
Yeah, the 16-ounce can. Well, that's what I was saying. That's why I liked, and I don't know if you ever ended up trying it, Nick, the St. Arnold's Texas Winter.
Not yet. I haven't.
So it seems like it's gone now because it's seasonal. Yeah, that's the thing that sucks about
winter.
Yeah. All right.
You tell him, Chris.
Let's get to the final question. This one's a kind of a longer one. I don't know if we want to go through all of it, but here, let me start.
Is this the one about the release dates?
Yeah.
I feel like we can go through this list pretty quick and make a judgment call.
All right. With each passing major delay, it becomes more and more apparent how large the impact of COVID-19 has been for video game development in the 2021 release calendar. Below is a list of the remaining major titles that remain possible for release in 2021. We don't have much to go on for this, but in a very rapid-fire format, try to answer which of these you think actually might hit their 2021 window and which will be delayed until the next year or later.
All right,
so we can just go through the list real quick. Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yes.
I think that.
Sure.
I think that'll hit.
I think yes.
I
Babylon's
think maybe
Fall.
in the fall. Oh, Babylon.
No.
No.
Let's just do yes or no. Let's not go into the details. There's a lot of them. So Babylon's Fall, yeah, all no. God of War sequel.
No.
Not this year.
Yeah, no. No More Heroes 3.
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
Metroid Prime 4.
No.
Good God.
Not this decade.
Psychonauts 2.
I'll say yes.
Yeah.
On Metroid Prime. No, Prime 4. You want to bet me on it, Brad?
Hot
No,
dog
this
bet?
is rapid
David
fire.
making
We
hot
gotta
dog
go.
bet?
Psychonauts 2.
Yes.
Yes.
Psychonauts, yeah.
Yeah.
Far Cry 6.
Yes.
I think
I think so.
Or no.
Deathloop.
I'm gonna go no on that one. Deathloop.
But you're gonna
yes,
go no on Far Cry 6 was actually supposed to release window was supposed to be like April, May of this year and was delayed. But
okay.
I feel like if they were
too
initially
much. We gotta go.
Breath of the
Kill me.
Wild sequel.
No.
I think so.
No.
because Prime 4 will take up the winter release.
If it's a
shut your
launch title
mouth.
for the new Switch, then yes. But otherwise, no.
Horizon Forbidden West. I think so.
I think
supposed
that's
to come out, right?
I think that's probably.
It's been
I think that'll be
well-
a winter
No.
release.
Dying Light
Wait,
2.
Brad, you're saying no?
Yeah, he
No.
said no to Horizon.
No on that one as well.
Dying
You are
Light
too
2, Brad says
optimistic.
no.
I say yes.
I say yes, but I think late. The thing is, they had a chance to delay it. They had a chance to say we're pushing this back, and they
Motherfucker.
instead said 2021.
We are living in a post-cyberpunk world.
That's true. That's true.
Ain't nobody
Starfield.
gonna be putting shit out unfinished.
Starfield.
Wait.
I'm gonna say no on Starfield.
I'm going to say
No
yes on
one's-
Starfield.
Well, yeah, Bethesda's weird, right? Fallout 4 and Fallout New 76 were both announced and released like a few months later.
I thought, Brad.
And neither of them were amazing.
I thought you were on the team, on the side of Starfield, maybe probably coming out this year.
I just
we
said
talked.
that.
I thought you
All right,
did.
moving on. Next, Hollow Knight Silksong.
Yes.
I think yes.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty safe bet.
That's
Shin
the
Megami
new
Tensei
game.
5. Yes.
Who cares?
Shin Megami Nocturne HD.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Halo Infinite.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have to. They have to put it.
Yeah, they do.
Do they?
Bayonetta 3. I think
No.
No.
Really? I thought they've been
Not
working on it.
yet.
For, all right.
Bayonetta 3's been in the work a long
never
time.
mind.
I don't even know what her haircut is.
I've reserved it on Walmart.
We don't even know what her haircut is. We don't even know where it is in
Uh,
development.
She may
State
not
of
even
Decay
have
3.
hair. Sorry,
State
what?
of Decay 3?
I'm going down.
Yeah.
That could come out.
Yeah, that's reasonable. Yeah.
I think Microsoft wants something to come out.
All we've
Yeah,
seen
they
of that
do.
is a cinematic trailer. I don't know if that
Correct.
Will it be good? That's the question.
So that's my thing. A State of Decay 2 came out and it was doo-doo
Not so
butt
good.
when it came
Not
out.
so good.
But
yeah.
it's gotten good.
I know it's gotten better,
Oh,
but
is
the
it good
question
now?
is how much time was spent
Oh, is it
making
good?
it better and
State of,
as opposed
State of
to
Decay
working on
2 is
three.
good now?
They
Yeah.
Shit,
improved
why
a
are
lot
we
of the
playing it,
issues.
dude? Why are we not playing that? That's on Game Pass. Or was.
Final one, Elden Ring.
No.
No.
Here's the thing about Elden Ring.
What's the
'Cause
thing?
that-
Tell me the thing, Nick.
They were supposedly going to released that trailer. Some of us here have seen the trailer, right?
No, that was a leaked trailer from the previous year. It's old. It was never intended to be viewed publicly. I don't think.
Well, there was a lot of talk about they were planning to reveal it this month, but because of the leak, they decided not to.
I heard it was really old. It wasn't like almost a year old trailer.
So they just made a trailer, never released it.
I mean, that happens
a lot. You do internal trailers to kind of for pitches, looking for deals, marketing purposes.
Trying to get investors.
Internal, yeah.
All right, yeah, fuck it. Elden Ring's not coming this year. I think we'll see it this year.
Nothing's coming.
I think we'll definitely see it this year, though. That's my bet.
So are we going a whole year without a Soulsian project?
Yeah, I mean, we've gone years before without Souls projects.
There wasn't one last year.
I mean, there was Demon Souls.
Not a From Software.
That's not a From Software game, but it's true. That is a Souls game.
I mean, isn't it a From Software game?
No, it's Blue Point.
Yeah.
That's all the questions this evening. Thanks everybody who asked. Don't worry if we missed your question. It's not forgotten. We will get to it at some other point in the future.
Yeah, if a question pops into your mind, or again, importantly, if you see a news topic come up,
if it's news related, we'll try and hit it that podcast just so it's more relevant.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you see a news topic come up and you want to just make sure that we talk about it on a podcast, if you want to know what we're thinking about, submit a question about it. We'd love to hear them. All right, let's wrap up as we do with the 4-player minute. Brad,
yeah, I can go.
Go for it.
Hype, sweat, thank you, fuck you.
That's how it works.
All that. Yeah, you are just gonna do a bunch of hypes. Fuck you. My hype for this week is It Takes Two.
Damn it, that's my hype.
The new game from Joseph Ferris and his studio. What's it called?
Fuck the Oscars.
The Fuck the Oscars guy, maker of Brothers and A Way Out. Apparently, this new game, it looks pretty cool and reviewed surprisingly well. I'm going to be playing it with Malia, although it is about a husband and a wife getting a divorce and the kid imagining, them
really
not getting back together or whatever. And it's sort of like the kid's fantasy world. They get turned into dolls and they have to work together and there's a marriage counselor. I don't know. It looks cool.
And there's a marriage counselor. It looks cool.
Oh, the thing is, I just hope it doesn't have like a happy ending, but I don't want it to be like a sad ending.
The fuck? Then what do you want it to do? You want it to just both of them die?
And I also don't want the Mrs. Doubtfire ending.
What's the Mrs. Doubtfire ending? Oh, the father.
They don't get back together, but they're A-okay. I don't know what I want.
What the hell do you want? Don't even play the game, dude.
I don't like the sappy, like the idea of them getting back together just because the kid wanted it. I don't really
you don't want the sad ending.
Oh! I want it to get like fucking bizarre.
What?
Like the kid kills the parents? Turns out they're voodoo dolls?
There never were any parents?
Yeah, it was all a dream.
My sweat for this week.
They're not even his real parents?
My sweat is Monster Hunter Rise. It could have easily been my hype.
They can't settle their differences, so they give up the kid for adoption.
Can you cosplay? Can you cosplay? Can your family cosplay the It Takes Two family?
Well, it's funny you say that because actually I don't want to talk about that.
Wait, me or?
Oh, God.
My sweat for this week is Monster Hunter Rise. One of the things I've been hearing is that this one might be a little easy for a seasoned hunter, I guess. And
good.
I hope it's not too easy. But more specifically, I'm a little worried about the rampage mode because it's sort of like this big thing that they built up. It's like a tower defense, get on turrets, fight off these waves of monsters. I'm worried that's going to be a little too front and center, and I'm hearing rumors that that's kind of what the post game is, and that you kind of have to do it if you want to get certain things. And I just hope I like it, because if I don't, it's like a whole thing. My thank you for this week goes to this is going to sound terrible, and I'm sorry, it's my thank you, but Konami shut down a bunch of sports clubs, and I feel bad because jobs are lost, but the closer Konami goes to like actually being in the toilet, the sooner they'll have to start selling off their IPs to someone who actually makes video games, and that's great. But really, I guess it's COVID that is the reason they shut down a bunch of health clubs. But
Well, you said sports clubs. What's
sports clubs? What I don't know what the difference is in Japan.
Well, sports clubs are like betting clubs, right? Like you go and watch sports. And health clubs are the ones that you may or may not get a massage.
Okay, well, they shut down one of those. I don't actually remember which one, but I think they own both. And my fuck you for this week goes to Sony for unveiling the controllers for the PSVR 2, which apparently like a month ago didn't even exist, right? It was just this, like, from what I understood, is like, yeah, we might make a PSVR 2.
I thought it was pretty,
you know. That was the company line. The company line was, oh, someday. We're still on the fence about it. Well, maybe we'll do a PSVR 2. That was the company line. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, here's the new controllers. And I'm like, fucking what is this? What is this thing? Is it coming out soon? Why are you showing us the controllers for this thing we didn't even know existed, much less, that company line. But fuck you, because I don't want this. So I hope it doesn't come out soon. The only thing I want,
Brad, make up your damn mind. I mean, you want something or you don't want something. You want them to get together or you want them to break up.
I want it.
You don't want it. What the fuck, dude?
He wants it. He just doesn't want to pay for it.
Exactly. The only thing I want to want this year is a Switch Pro, and I don't want this other thing coming along going, buy me. You love VR.
What has been the Nintendo company line about the Switch Pro?
Nothing.
The good news is, though, the good news about the PSVR 2 is like this thing most certainly will be able to play Half-Life Alyx, right? So that'd be good for people who don't have like supercomputers. Yeah,
it's true.
Anyway,
is it going to be released?
They decide to release Half-Life Alyx on the platform.
They can't.
Oh, but why wouldn't they?
I wouldn't put it past Valve to do that.
Yeah, they would definitely do that. It's Half-Life. They put it on everything.
I mean, they did Portal.
They just couldn't put it on a PSVR 1. There's no way that was.
Mm-hmm.
A PS4 can run Half-Life Alyx.
Fair enough. All right, Nolan?
All right, my 4-player minute starts now. My hype is for It Takes Two. Brad stole it. Excited to play that game. Bernadette. My wife.
Why are y'all playing it with y'all's
my wife?
Because that's like the point of the game.
No, but not within a relationship. Like, because Green Toast knows my ex-girlfriend, and I'm pretty chummy with my ex-girlfriend. We like talk on the phone maybe a couple times a week, have lunch every other week. And Green Toast was like, "Do you want to play it with me, or are you sure you don't want to play it with your ex?"
Wait a minute.
Why do I need to play with my ex? What did you say, sir?
Sorry, nothing.
All right, my sweat also goes to Monster Hunter, but mainly just because I'm worried about it. Because
God,
I know if I don't play it now, I'm never going to play it.
Very true.
And Brad's going to give me shit if I don't play it.
Look, dude.
Wait, how are you guys going to communicate in that game?
Discord.
Discord, yeah. Look,
Monster Hunter. That's how y'all are doing it, right?
That's how we did it when we streamed it last time.
That's everything these days, yeah.
That's funny.
Look, man, I'm not gonna get mad if one of y'all don't pick it up. I'm just pushing it now because now's the time to do it, right?
Mine's getting here tomorrow, baby.
There you go.
I'm popping mine in after. I'm popping mine in after the show.
Did you get 13 Sentinels yet, Nick?
My thank you goes to Alan Tudyk. I started watching, and I'm pretty caught up. I think I'm behind on one episode of Resident Alien. I was kind of worried about that show, but I've actually been liking it a whole lot. Alan Tudyk's great in the show.
What's the premise of the show?
He is an alien who crash landed in Colorado, and he has to blend in while he tries to repair.
He looks like an alien, or he looks
like Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, he has the ability to look like a human.
Huh. You know, he played the droid in that one Star Wars movie?
J2SO in Rogue One, yes.
Pretty good. He also played that pilot guy in Serenity or whatever.
Yes, that pilot guy. He also played the chicken in Moana, and he played the fucking whatever roly poly shit was in that new Disney movie. Raya and the Last Dragon.
Wasn't he in like that one zombie movie with the hillbillies?
Yes. Oh God.
Oh, that's a good movie.
What is that?
Cam and Chancellor.
Yeah, it's
Like,
two names. Someone in chat's gonna know it, and it's I fucking love that movie. Yeah, Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Versus Evil, right? I think Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Yeah, great fucking movie.
Let's just go to his IMDb page and name everything.
Dude, he's fantastic. And my fuck you this week goes to the Snyder Cut. At the end of the day, I don't think it was worth my time.
No.
It's one of those like, I understand that it's his vision, but the problem is like it's 4 hours, whatever. But the problem is there's just so many scenes that are drawn out for no reason, and I just really feel like if they were to have condensed those just slightly, that movie could probably easily be 3 hours and be a little more manageable. Don't get me wrong.
I heard they played I heard they played everything at 10% slower.
There's a lot of slow motion.
10% of the film is in slow motion. Like
10%. There's a lot of slow motion.
10% of the scenes are in slow motion.
Wait a minute. Let me do some quick math. That's a lot of movie.
It's a lot. And the one nice thing about it was that it's broken up into parts.
That was actually very nice.
I heard you're supposed to watch it like a miniseries and like watch.
That's kind of what we did. Well, I think we watched it in 3 sittings. So we watched like parts 1 and 2, 3 and 4, whatever. And so that made it a little bit easier.
I did it in 2. I watched through Act 3 and then took a break.
Dude, Malia's on board. We're gonna watch. Not only the thing is, we're gonna watch it, but we've not seen any of the Zack Snyder DC anything.
Really?
So we don't really have to.
We have to watch Man of Steel, and we're gonna do it. She's on board. We're gonna watch
Man of Steel, Brad.
Oh God, this is killing me, guys. Just let him do what he wants to do.
Why are you telling me not to watch?
I'm not stopping him. I'm just saying.
Nick wants someone to watch all of
Brad,
them first.
Man of Steel is an incredibly divisive film. Like
so is all of this shit, right? Isn't all of this shit?
I don't really want you to watch any of it. You're
Nick,
just
you like Batman versus Superman.
Who cares if I don't like it? So many people don't like it. What does me not liking it?
I know it's more, but it almost seems like you're just watching it. It's like it's because you want to hate it. That's why it bothers me.
I'm watching it because I heard good things about the Snyder Cut, right? And here's the thing: I've only ever seen Henry Cavill in The Witcher. I want to see him in something else.
Then watch The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Is that one good?
That's a great movie.
Is it Man from U.N.C.L.E. or is it Man from U.N.C.L.E.?
Wait a second.
Fuck you, Uncle Fucker.
Or watch the Mission Impossible movie he's in.
Yeah, but have you not seen Mission Impossible?
That was okay.
He's kind of watched that, but that was after I watched The Witcher.
He's kind of a goof in the Mission Impossible movie.
I did watch that.
Well,
he was kind of whatever in that, but he did reload his arms, right?
He fucking reloads his fist.
Oh, do you know what's the best? I watched that movie in the theaters with my mom. In the middle of the movie, she's like, David, what happened? What's going on? She couldn't follow because we came in and they were already playing the explosions and shit. She couldn't figure out what was going on. She's asking me in the theater, crowded theater. David, what happened? What happened? Who is he? I was like, shut up.
All right.
Oh god. Chris Davis, you're next.
It's actually my turn. Okay.
Yeah, believe it or not. I hate going last.
My first hype is for the cinematic event of March, which is Godzilla vs. Kong.
No, incorrect. Oh wait, never mind. April. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. I found out today that the Alamo Drafthouse is going to be doing private theaters of that, so I'm going to be scheduling an event with my friends, and y'all are more than welcome to attend if you want.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wait, I heard they're not treating Godzilla very well.
No, that's coming out next weekend.
Yeah. Oh. It's already out in theaters internationally.
I'm not going back to a theater until I'm vaccinated.
It's a private theater, and I kind of trust them.
Oh, I know.
I trust it's private. COVID's not allowed inside. It's private.
Yeah, it's not allowed. It's not allowed. They show at the door when it shows up. Yeah.
No, believe me. Chris Davis. Nobody wants. I cannot.
Hey,
I want to
man,
like
you-
walk in the door and just shower them in
No,
money.
but
I
let me
can't
ask
wait
you
to
a
do it.
Nick, as soon as you get vaccinated, you give the 3 weeks whatever adjustment period, right? Then you're going to go straight to the theaters.
I don't know about that.
Wait, is it 3
I
weeks or
don't
2
feel like
weeks?
I'm going to go to theaters anytime soon. Like, why? Why go?
No. I mean, I'm not going straight back to the theater. I'm just saying. I'm not going back for Godzilla versus
Is the
King
Black
Kong.
Widow
Well,
movie
I
coming out
am.
in theaters soon?
I mean, that's great, Chris Davis. Just be careful.
Yeah.
I will. I might. The first time I might cave and go back to a movie is maybe for No Time to Die.
That's gonna
When's
be
your
a
first
while.
But that's like November.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a totally different.
Or
Do you think
situation.
there's
the
like,
next
a lot
time
of
somebody
anti-abortion
hacks
people?
fucking whatever servers, that gets
Here,
anyway.
So what
I'm
about
not gonna-
what?
Sorry, Brad. What did you say?
Oh, do you think there's a lot of like antsy orgy people, like
Antsy?
swingers, who are getting real antsy about COVID? You know,
Sure.
You know,
But
yeah, I'm sure.
They feel the need.
You
how
know,
often do you think there's like a swinger party and a guy
Hey,
just shows
funny
up?
story.
Like, I'm a swinger. I just
Funny
forgot
story
to
about
bring.
swingers.
funny story. No,
Let's-
yeah, actually, when we first started looking for a house, we went to several neighborhoods, whatever, and my real estate agent, who I've used several times, was like,
Used
Uh,
for what?
well, I mean, when I bought the condo, she was my. What are you? She's my real estate agent. Oh my god.
I thought we were talking about orgies. I don't know.
Nick, you've seen the videos.
Oh my god. Anyways, my real estate agent took us to this neighborhood, right? And we were walking around, and then she told us, she's like, "Hey, just FYI, I've been to this neighborhood a lot. I have several friends live in this neighborhood. You'll notice some of the houses in this neighborhood have
Ties on the doorknobs.
gnomes in the front yard. And if in this neighborhood there's a group of swingers that that they indicate like that's their sign that they're into swinging, is they put gnomes on their front yard." And Robin was like, "I love gnomes. What if we moved here and nobody told us that?" And she was just putting gnomes out in front of the house because we have like
Wait a
5
minute.
gnomes in front of
You,
us.
you have gnomes?
Wait, what?
You have gnomes?
Yeah, we have gnomes. Robin loves gnomes.
Like it just knocks on the door in a gimp suit like next week.
Wait a minute. Nick, does she go up to you and like elbow you and go, "Nick, I love gnomes. I
Oh,
love
fuck off.
gnomes." Maybe she's trying to drop a hint.
No. Sorry.
Well, we know how
Chris
to mess
Davis.
with Nick. Now we could just
Chris
drop by in the
Davis,
middle of the
please.
night and drop a gnome on his lawn.
Have
Wait,
sex with him.
Nick, did you actually moved into that neighborhood?
No, we didn't
Okay,
go to
good.
that neighborhood.
Okay.
It's ruined
No,
all
that
fun.
was the funny thing. Like we were like, I was like, we dodged a bullet. Imagine if we had gone there, you wouldn't be able to put gnomes in the front yard without being.
Imagine
you'd be getting
what
all-
a travesty.
People showing up at your doorstep wearing robes or whatever.
basically.
My second hype this week is for the COVID vaccine because I got my appointment for tomorrow.
Oh,
Nice.
you got it. The one that Nolan.
So, no, the one in Rockdale? No.
Okay.
I got in on the Austin Public Health list, and
Nice.
I'm heading to South Austin tomorrow to get my first shot.
Just make sure if you get an appointment, make sure if another place contacts you or you have another appointment to cancel that one.
Which I will. I will certainly will.
Okay.
My third hype is for something I really wanted to play this past week, but because of my sweat, I didn't end up doing it. I really wanted to play the Doom Eternal Ancient Gods Part 2. The feedback I've been hearing about it is that it's not a difficulty spike like Ancient Gods Part 1. It's just more varied gameplay stuff. And that sounds pretty good to me. Like, Ancient Gods Part 1 was fucking hard.
Yep. No, thank you.
Yeah, that really kind of dulled me on it a little bit. But my sweat this week has been the game I actually have been playing instead, which has been the multiplayer for Mass Effect 3. Let's check my Steam numbers. Yeah, I'm at 94 hours now.
What the fuck?
And I started playing 2.5 weeks ago. So, yeah.
Wow.
I've been enjoying it.
money.
I really have a lot of fun. But
Have you spent any money?
No comment.
That's
No.
the one where you go around and you try to win back the Earth or something.
You're going around the galaxy fighting Reapers and other factions to help the effort on Earth. Yeah.
And you try to get 100% or something like that, right?
To get the galactic readiness rating up to 100% to help you in the single player, yes. But they patched that out after release. So you
can't get 100%.
You can get 100%, yeah, easily. It's the first.
It doesn't go back down anymore.
No, it goes back down like 1% or 2% per day.
Okay.
Like it's not much.
But it's a lot easier. It's not like back then where. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you play like one match, you get back that like 3 or 5%, so you're covered. But like in the like it's the first thing you see when you come to the multiplayer screen, like your galactic readiness rating.
So this is like your Smallville, is what you're saying.
It's honestly, it kind of is. It's so much fun though. Like unlocking all these different characters and just trying out all these new builds is so much fun. The fact that you can get like both a Krogan Vanguard and a Volus Vanguard is hilarious.
Listen, you motherfuckers, does anybody here not love something so much when they think about the fact that you don't have much time on this earth? Why would you only want to commit to watching it once? Does nobody else feel like
the exact opposite for not having a lot of time on the earth?
So, I mean, Godzilla is my Smallville, Nick, or my Dexter for you.
Wait, first of all, Smallville is like of the things you could name that I love.
What wasn't
Smallville
the first couple
like,
seasons okay and grounded in reality, and then later on it get crazy? Like there was like some
they're all it's all. I mean, they've always been weird and crazy.
I saw a picture of Tom Welling as Superman recently. What's going on with that?
He came back he was part of the Arrow crossover event.
You could be watching all that shit instead of rewatching things.
I have no interest in that shit.
Yeah. Okay.
I dropped off of Arrow after season 3 because the season 4 was awful, and just none of the other
Green
shows
Arrow?
really.
What about Batwoman, Nick? What about Batwoman?
I mean, the thought of watching a Batman show with the production value of a CW show, I don't know. I'm just not really into it. I don't know.
Nick.
But you literally like Smallville and Supernatural, though. So I feel like
Supernatural has always had pretty great production value.
Nick, I'm telling you, and Crispy will thank me because he's not here. Doom Patrol.
I know. It's on my watch list.
The most recent episode I watched was called Sex Patrol.
I know. I've seen the.
No, not the one you're thinking of. This is a different one. They have to stop the fucking shadow demon from sucking up too much of the orgy power because he'll have a baby, and if that baby cries, then fucking everything, like all the children in the world will die, and he, like, wherever he goes, he's followed by a bunch of ghosts having sex constantly, and the Sex Patrol shows up.
Great. That sounds great, but I'm gonna go on a limb here and say that I think
this is DC canon, Nick.
I think we might be looking for different things in our superhero fiction.
I'm just saying that happens. It's not the whole show, but it's part of it. Trust me, you'll like Doom Patrol.
Oh, I have no doubt.
Anyway, so if anybody in the community has Mass Effect 3 on the PC, I would love to arrange some community nights. Also, just one last thing, pour one out for poor Jessica Walter because she passed away today.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was really sad.
Way to bring down the whole show, Chris Davis.
Sorry, but it had to be in there somewhere.
I know, that's sad.
Anyway, you
Nick?
can go now.
No, it's David's turn, actually. Sorry, that was that was actually a moment of silence we just had there. No.
Oh my god.
I really hate going last, by the way.
This segment is
Go first. Go ahead.
No,
Yeah,
David, you go first.
What? No, Nick, you go.
This is riveting.
Well then, okay, fine.
I don't understand. You said you don't like to go last.
My sweat this
like
week
he
is for
loves
Monster
going.
Hunter. Monster Hunter Rise because I haven't
Are dropping like flies.
What? No, I mean I'm nervous about it because I want to like this game. I want to finally have the Monster Hunter experience. I finally want to get into Monster Hunter, but I've never been able to successfully pull it off. So I'm gonna give it an honest to God try, Brad. You have to at least give me credit for that. I am going to try my damnedest to get hooked. If I don't, I apologize, but God damn it, I'm gonna try. My thank you for the week actually I don't know who I'm specifically thanking for this, but I feel like I gotta thank somebody, probably Zack Snyder, I guess, for the Snyder cut. I had a little bit of, I mean, while I do totally agree with what Nolan said about they probably could have still shaved 30 to 45 minutes off of it and still had a very tight, it would have been a great movie, I feel like. But
dude, you should be thanking the internet, not Zack Snyder.
I don't want to thank the internet, because now here's the thing: we let this whole them demanding the Snyder cut go to their head, and now they're fucking demanding to bring back the whole Snyderverse, and like it's just it's a fucking snowball. I don't want
Snyderverse.
Here's the thing: I feel like Zack Snyder as a person, regardless of whether the internet demanded it, deserved the opportunity to make this film. Because I mean, seriously, if you look back at what happened to him when he was making this movie and why the Justice League film ended up being the way it was, it's fucking sucks. He was literally in the middle of making this film. Warner Brothers was giving him shit because, you know, they're trying to do their own thing with the DC universe, and then all of a sudden there was a tragedy in his family and he had to leave the project. And they just used it as an opportunity to throw it into Joss Whedon's lap, and he just fucking gutted it and turned it into a movie.
Yeah.
I honestly,
can you blame DC? They were fucking terrified. Everyone hated Batman v Superman. They were contractually obligated to let Zack Snyder do another one of those movies. In the meanwhile, they see the MCU over there, Joss Whedon making Avengers movies making $1 billion.
But that's all. You know? That's all from the very beginning, because DC didn't want to go the slow route. They didn't want to make all the solo films and then build up to the giant crossover film. They wanted to just catch up with Marvel. DC just fucking fucked this whole thing up from the very beginning. But also, as someone who, right before the Justice League Snyder cut came out, I rewatched Batman v Superman, the extended cut of it, and had a much better experience watching that too than the first time I saw it in theaters. I remember walking out of theaters and not liking that movie either. But I legitimately liked the extended cut. I legitimately liked the Snyder cut of Justice League.
Did you watch Aquaman? I saw you tweet about that.
I have not watched Aquaman, and that's mostly. I want to. It's just
there's some prettiness in it, like the underwater stuff, but
I watched it on a plane.
I mean, just generic. Aquaman in general as a character is of the entire Justice League is the one I care about the least.
Read the comics, dude. Read the comics. I'll send it to your house. What's your address?
All I'm saying is
Aquaman comics.
Yeah,
Aquaman
New 52 is great.
I would say the one good thing so far to come out of the Snyder cut is the fact that they've casted Pierce Brosnan as in a Dr. Fate film.
But why does that?
What does that have to do with the Snyder cut?
What does it do with the Snyder cut? I know, DC. But like that's not a result of the Snyder cut. That's just
I feel like
that's just the thing that's happening.
Nah, it's just something that's happening.
Okay.
Look, it's a device. The Snyder Cut's a divisive film. Whatever, I get it. But like, I walked out of watching the Justice League in theaters and was like, I will be happy if I never have to think about that movie ever again. Holy shit! This movie, I will rewatch this movie at some point. Like,
I've never seen the original Justice League.
It is so
Snyder
bad.
Cut not going to hit as good because I have nothing to compare it to. I feel like I should watch Justice League and then this.
The Justice League. If you go watch the Justice League movie, it's very Marvel. It's very like good jokes upon jokes.
But not even that. Like, it doesn't feel. Everything feels out of place. Everything feels out of place, and like it just doesn't. Whether you love Zack Snyder's take or not, the original Justice League cut just doesn't feel right.
It happens very quick. Like all of a sudden they come down, they're chasing this box. Amazons are flying through the air, and then he grabs the box and he flies away. You're like,
there is a villain in the Snyder cut that doesn't even appear in Joss.
They cut out whole sequences, man. There's like no backstory for Cyborg. There's no backstory for. That's what I'm hearing.
It is bananas how much. And not to mention, I was worried that all that stuff would feel very like unfinished, but everything that's in the Snyder cut that didn't make the original cut feels polished. Like, there's obviously some
Is there still bad
exceptions
CG?
to that rule. There's a few
No,
instances,
but
like
no mustache CG then. Right?
I was worried there was the mustache thing is the most.
Does Cyborg still look like really stupid?
No, dude, Cyborg looks actually pretty cool. I think. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I just seen trailers.
Doesn't he play in a football game in this?
Mm-hmm.
I saw footage of him running around in a football game.
David, I think it's your turn.
Sorry, I technically haven't finished yet. This is why I hate going.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
What do you think going last?
Oh, and my my hype this week. You know, I'm really looking forward to having a nice session to sit down and finish Mundaun, because I'm really enjoying that game, and it doesn't feel like a typical horror game. Like, it's not like super scary, so it's not like the kind of thing I dread sitting down to play, but it just feels like the kind of thing if I can sit down and focus, and it's like watching a really cool story unfold in front of you. So really looking forward to finishing that game this weekend. Now I'm done. David, take it away.
Okay. So my hype for this week is still hyped, still very, very, very hyped about Skyward Sword. July can't come soon enough. Nick almost spit his water out. That was great, dude. That was a perfect
I wasn't
time.
sure what to expect.
But yeah, I want to play that game. I want it to be good. I want it to be good enough to where maybe I won't finish it, but at least get a big chunk of the game in and actually kind of experience it for what it was supposed to be, right? I'm also really hyped about Mugen Train, which finally has an American release date, April 23rd, Demon Slayer. It's going to be the movie of the month for April. That's why I caught myself when Chris Davis said Godzilla or some whatever movie it was. This is movie of the month for March, because Mugen Train comes out in April. You should watch it, dude. That arc is the best, man. That's the one where
I don't even know what you're talking about right now.
The Flame Hashira fights that one guy with the fucking black lines on his face. Oh, I don't want to spoil anything. They're on a train and the demon makes them fall asleep, and then they have to wake up before the demon kills them, dude. That's awesome.
Right.
You should get into Demon Slayer. But also my real hype coming out tomorrow. It's a game, Brad. You know it. Getting excited, right?
He's gonna say some other game, but I'm curious what he's gonna say. It Takes Two.
Battleland Wonderland is supposed to come
comes out tomorrow.
Dude. Woo! Target shipped my copy today, so that means I'm not gonna have it tomorrow. But if y'all want me on next week's show to talk about Battleland Wonderland, man,
we'll wait for you to finish that one.
Huh?
We'll wait for you to really have time to think about that one.
Let that one marinate.
Brad just doesn't like
Marinate.
happiness anymore. That's because that game's all happiness. You should see all the characters.
I'll be real happy playing Monster Hunter. Trust me.
My sweat for this week is Outriders. It's coming out next week. I debated back and forth on whether I was going to pick that game up or not. It's on Game Pass, but I don't have a Game Pass Ultimate subscription. I'm still on a regular Gold, so I pre-ordered it from Best Buy. It's $59.99, but I'm getting $10.
You should do what I did, David.
What?
Order something from Microsoft, have them royally fuck it up like 5 times, and then when you call back to have them fix it, they give you 6 months added to your current Game Pass subscription and upgrade it to Ultimate for $1.
Yeah, but I want to be on the old Gold. I don't want to be on the Game Pass Ultimate. I like owning my games. But yeah, Outriders. So here's the thing. I wasn't interested in that game at all. Zero interest. That game looked like it was going to be bad. And I played the demo, and it's still not that great. But stupid Green Toast was like, you can cross-platform that game, right? So he's on PS4, I'm on Xbox, and we could play with each other. So he was like, let's run through the demo and grind this stuff. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And we do it, and it's so dumb. The character's dumb. Conversations are dumb.
You're talking yourself out of it. Then what are you doing?
No, it's so stupid.
No.
But there's something about like shooting dudes and like I got. You have different powers for each class. Job classes, Brad. Job classes.
No.
There's like
listen,
a flame job
Here's
class.
the thing.
Dude.
Outriders. This is a game none of us here would have played, but like David's tastes are like, he's David,
I know.
right? But like I I don't know anything about Outriders, but as soon as I saw like a picture of it, I knew David would be playing that fucking game. I fucking knew.
What picture was it? What picture is it? Tell me.
Just the cover, whatever the cover.
Guys,
Cover's the stupidest looking thing ever.
guys, I completely forgot the most important part of my 4-player minute.
Start it over again.
No,
from the top.
no, just sorry. Can I interject here real quick?
Yeah, sure.
My fuck you of the week goes to Warner Brothers. Did y'all hear this shit? So at the end of 2021, so you remember they made that deal with HBO Max, right? All their new releases in 2021 go straight to HBO Max.
Okay.
That ends at the end of 2021. In 2022, all of their movies are exclusive to Regal Cinemas for 45 days.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what that includes? The Batman.
The Batman.
The Batman.
Oh, that's the one with the Christian
Robert
Jigger or
Pattinson.
whatever his name is.
And that's how they're going to kill their business.
What's wrong with that?
That means because I don't go to Regal fucking cinemas. I go to the Draft House.
What's wrong with Regal?
I'm trying to figure out the fucking angle here. I was like, should go to a movie theater.
Brad, my argument for that is there's not a Regal cinema near me.
Here's
the closest Regal to me is like at least 45 minutes, if
There's
not
like
farther
2 or
away.
3 in town, maybe?
Here's the thing. I understand what they did. I understand what they did in 2021 because nobody wants to go to a theater right now because of obviously what's going on, right?
Okay.
That's totally fine. The HBO Max thing makes sense.
Right.
Don't force people to go to a specific fucking like I don't want to go to a fucking Regal cinema.
But you can go to a Draft House.
Businesses are struggling, man. Don't hate on Regal cinemas.
Dude, the Alamo Draft House filed for bankruptcy. They're struggling too.
Are they really?
You're such a dork. You're such a dork, man. Get one of your electric jellyfish, put it in your fucking pocket, go to Regal cinemas and
it's not even about that. It's not about I don't like
I will serve you pizza in the Regal cinema, Nick. I will show up with a little bow tie and then
I will say this, the Regal cinema that's actually near me has like the tiniest seats, like seats for ants.
It's perfect for you.
Say it, joke it. Get him for that one, dude. Has the tiniest seats. Go.
They're made just for you. You're like Goldilocks.
No, it's like sitting on an airplane where you don't have enough like foot room. It's ridiculous.
But you can't fall asleep on the airplanes, right?
What?
Nick can't fall asleep on airplanes.
I'm sorry.
I learned.
This decision pisses me off. It pisses me the fuck off. So
okay, so don't worry about it. I'll go watch the movie. I'll let you know how it goes.
Fuck you. Finish your 4-player minute. Wrap this shit up.
Outriders. So Outriders, there's like
we're not going back.
I played one class where he was like a fire dude. He was shooting like walls of fire, but then I was like, I don't like that class. I'm gonna change the other one. And there's one where he has a power where he just teleports behind the back of anybody. So like I teleport across the screen and just there's like a row of bad guys all shooting me. I just teleport behind him. And I start shooting them, and yeah, it's weird. It's really really weird how the powers work.
You shouldn't play that game. What's next on your 4-player minute?
I'm gonna play that. My fuck you for this week goes to all these next gen re-releases. Like the Tony Hawk, you have to buy the new Tony Hawk to get all the stuff like that. I don't care about Tony Hawk so much. But then they have like Devil May Cry and Control. Control is going to be like one of those games. I get it, man. You can't really just give everybody an update. But for all these games that have updates, it's been really nice. Like everything's getting updated all the time. Crash just got updated. Eventually, Metro is going to get updated. And like that's the best thing about this new generation is the fast loads, right? Or the quicker load times. Best. So fuck you to all those guys who just.
You know what game got a free update for PS5 that looks and plays great?
What?
Days Gone, baby.
Does it really?
Yeah, you got an incredible update.
Eventually, I'm going to get a PS5, and then first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pop in, see what has the updates, and that's probably the first stuff I'm going to be playing. That's what I've been doing on the Xbox, just playing stuff that gets updated. And my shame for this week is I have started up probably like 20-something weird JRPGs that are like all 30, 40, 50 hour long games. And I've played maybe 5 hours of each. Yeah, and I'm...
Hey, if Blobbly can do it, you can too, David.
Blobbly...
Well, Blobbly is a monster.
I don't think he has the...
That's a little rude.
What?
He finished Tactics Ogre in like a weekend. I don't think anybody on the planet's ever done that.
Tactics Ogre. The PSP version?
Okay, I mean, David, are you?
I started up Shibuya 428. Brad, you ever play
That didn't sound like a hype or a sweat or.
Well, no, I'm just
Alright,
saying that's one of the quote unquote.
we can
JRPGs.
continue this discussion in a second after we cut the recording. I just want to say, guys, thank you for listening. 4playernetwork.com is the website. We record these episodes every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on twitch.tv/4playerpodcast. In the meantime, you can find all of our podcasts over at 4playernetwork.com. Join us in Discord, support us on Patreon, all that good stuff. David, thanks for being here, as always. Appreciate it. And we will see you guys next week. Take care.
Bye.
Good night.
Nice.